It was against Freiburg. He was standing in for a Swedish liner called Gamer Legion. It was a very, very good game. We lost 16-0.
The Swedish CS was the best.
Yep.
What happened to Swedish CS?
Who's better, Shiro or Simple?
You can just call me whatever you
All
want.
right.
I don't care.
Well, Flamesy.
Bitch. Sorry.
About to activate podcast mode with ENCE on one side, Astralis on the other. Got Blame F and Bow up. Got myself a bit of Snappy and Nerds. And gentlemen, today we're about to see where this journey goes. The event so far has had some twists and some turns. Both of you are in the playoffs, obviously. That's why you're here. You locked yourself in for the semis yesterday. You guys had a hard-fought day with 2 best-of-3s. Was there any celebrations last night? Get back to the hotel, have a drink, or was it straight to bed?
I think there was maybe 3 beers or something like. It wasn't
3
anything
beers
crazy.
between the team, right?
No. I think we had like 3, 4 each maybe, but it wasn't anything crazy.
Okay.
So it was pretty chill.
Pretty chill?
Well, we had a kebab. Kebab.
Kebab. Kebab. Nice kebab.
Yeah, food? Got the fuel?
Yep.
Yeah? No drinks?
No drinks.
No drinks.
We're keeping a little bit more professional.
Okay, all right. Well, I see your celebrations these days. I'm calling it when I'm casting you boys the Astralis Attitude Era. Because you guys are either just laughing, it's like you're cackling when you're owning teams. It's actually quite funny to watch. And the two of you especially, you're just cracking up as you're owning. Why is the mood so good right now? Like, obviously winning is a great thing, but it's quite clear you've got a different way to operate this time around.
I think we're just in a different place as a team. I think we're less focused on the results, and then it's easier, like when you don't focus too much on like you have to win this game all the time. I think it's easier like taking it a little bit lightly. Like I remember there was a situation yesterday where Borup did some like extremely good bait for me. He was like mulling in front of me, and then I thought I'd reloaded my weapon, but I didn't. So I swung on like a guy behind a one-way molly and only had 1 bullet left.
Okay.
And then I only shot 1 bullet. I just instant died, and I just remember that round we were just laughing so hard, even though we lost it. You know. I think we lost. I don't remember what it was. Stupid by me at least. But you know, it's just when you don't focus too much on like going into every game and saying like we have to win this because we're Astralis or whatever, but more focused on we're trying to build something for the future, then I think it's easier for us to have fun with it right now.
Did you expect this type of environment when you got the call up?
Yeah, I kind of. I mean, from Blame I did, yeah, because I know him from Heroic as well, and he's always good for a laugh. He's very serious when it comes down to like preparing and stuff like that. But like, if something's funny, he'll obviously laugh. Like,
Sure.
So yeah, I knew there was going to be a lot of laughs.
What about Device? He's started the wave meta, right? There's all the trash talk, all that confidence. I haven't seen Device with this much sass ever. It's not the Device that I remember, and now he's talking smack. Yesterday against Mouse with Frozen, did you see? Like it's what you did to Spinks type thing, right? But they were doing it to Frozen, like just downplaying all these impact saving guns. I think Device was like, "Yeah, protect the president." I was like, "What is going on? What's going on, man? Like this attitude." Did anybody expect this from Device on return?
I mean, I guess he always had it in him. Maybe he's just a little bit more confident now with the mood in the team. It looks like that it's a little bit more loose, so maybe he's just feeling it himself also. But I mean, in order to be Device, I think you also have to be a little bit cocky at times. You know, even if you don't say it.
Yeah, no, that's true. When you see this from Device,
I mean, I never saw it before from Device when they were like in their peak in Astralis, but right now I like to see it because like the last time we played against them, I remember that Astralis shouted, like at least to us. I remember that I heard, I think, Device, and like this is part of the game, and I like it at least from Device.
Yeah, that's cool. Though I think it's something that most people have enjoyed, unless your name's Cadian. And then everybody hates the fact that you're trash talking, right? I know that Cadian's not the most popular guy. Some people have their issues with him, but it's been entertaining.
Did you watch the game, our game?
Your game? Which one? Last night?
The last game in Mirage.
I watched your play, mate, from Ticket, and I saw you standing up, going nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like I like to have this trash talk. It give you hype in the game. Like I don't think like trash talk it's a bad in the game. Honestly, like I saw some people talking on Twitter that why he's doing it, but this is like why it's so lovely to play and you have this passion. This is why at least I like to play officials.
That's the old school way of doing things, mate. Like it's fun. If you have a bone to pick with a player on the other team, even if outside you're all friendly, but like you don't like the way he plays a situation, or you know it's a mate that you can shit talk, like it adds an extra element. It makes it even better. And if you guys are into it, then the viewer is having a good time, and that's what it's all about, right? So
sure.
I don't think anybody should be ashamed of that. And I wish on the stages, like right now we're going into a stage, I wish in the future they could have you guys facing each other as well on a stage, right? Because if then you guys
How can you do it?
well, we just got to move some things around. You know, right now you got your back to the screen and stuff, right?
You would have to put us on that, right?
Yeah, like if the screen's above you and you can't see it, you have Astralis on this side, we have ENCE on this side.
Okay.
We still have the thing in the middle, so you can't see the flashes and stuff.
Okay,
and then between the crowd's here.
Okay.
You're exposed, like the crowd is all around you.
Yeah.
So when you're standing up going nuts at each other, we're loving it. Like I think it would be awesome.
Good. It's actually
right?
good. I like it.
Could you imagine in a crowd match after you just your round yesterday on Mirage, you do that in front of 10,000 people, and you can see the opponent, and you can see all the fans.
I will jump on the table.
Yeah, of course you will. It jacked up, the adrenaline through the veins, mate. It's pretty sick. Yeah, we'll try and do that for the future. I don't think it's like that this time. I haven't seen the stage yet, but someone who has seen the stage, Mr. Blame F, you were there last year, huh?
Yeah, I was.
Back again this year.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know the difference between you and everybody else? You're the only one who's played in the Lanxess before out of these guys.
That is true. But we have one guy sitting at the table
He's a winner.
Who's a winner.
Yeah, I have that in my notes here, but don't you worry about that. Now, I did jot down that it was online, but
Doesn't matter.
we were all online in 2020.
It
But
was the
you're-
Europe one. There was two.
Yeah, it was broken up. But this is when you were part of Heroic,
Yeah.
right? And you lifted the trophy back then, and then the next day, Hunden got banned.
Oh yeah, that was exciting.
So maybe some better memories this time around, I imagine. But
Definitely.
do you remember that win quite well, even though it was online?
Yeah, it was the first big win for me ever. So it obviously meant a lot to me. The high wasn't for that long because obviously Hunden was banned after, and that kind of took all the attention away. So that's a shame. But yeah, it was very big for me.
Yeah, and now you're back, and now you're actually inside the arena.
Ooh, it's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to play in front of the arena. Obviously, I've never tried anything like it before, so it's gonna be one hell of an experience. Yeah.
It must be like for you because this team. Actually, I want to pass it over here. When you saw Borup get the call up, were you guys like surprised to see him as the fifth piece of Astralis, or did you know? I mean, he's you're Danish, Snappy. Did you have the inside goss coming your way?
I didn't honestly know. Like, I had no clue who was coming in, but I knew that Benya liked him because we all actually played for a short while in Heroic together. So I knew that he was like. I had a feeling that it was I don't know. I had a feeling Blame was probably in on it at least, because I think Benya liked Borup back then. So.
What was the laugh? Why did you laugh when he said you played together for a while?
It was actually a good month or so. We had a lot of fun, to be honest.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I remember one spectacular game because I played Freiburg on the team, and the first official will play.
Okay.
It was against Freiburg. He was standing in for a Swedish liner called Gamer Legion. It was a very, very good game. We lost 16-0. Yeah.
Okay. All right. A nice memory, huh?
Did we win the game, or was it only that map?
It was the best of one.
Oh, jeez.
Pretty sure.
Okay, so you did have a good time.
But we actually did have a good time in the office, I would say. I loved every single day when Benjamin came with his big meat. Like, there was like so much food.
Well, I was living with my mom back then, and she made me like the biggest lunchbox ever. I think like with like.
I was curious every day what you made for him.
New stuff every day, and she always put it on like one snack and some fruit, a vegetable, and some bread, just a lot of stuff because I was eating a lot back then.
Yeah,
so,
well.
2 or 3 meals, and it was good meals.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just some bread.
It was also homemade meals and everything.
Do you ever bring any in for the rest of the team, or?
Nah, man.
We had to go to 7-Eleven. Momofuku or whatever it was called.
Okay, so someone eating like a king and everybody else at the service
We ate
station.
okay, but it was not. It was not. As I think he ate better.
Okay. All right, boys. Let's focus in a little bit here on the tournament so far. Here's a fun one. Who had the easier group?
I would say we probably had the easier group.
But
I would also add one thing. I also think part of it is name value. But
Sure.
we for sure had the easier group. But I think also part of it is name value. Like, because I also think some of these new teams are name value.
Sure.
He didn't say it before.
So, but I think that with Exile, that was the big thing. That when he wasn't in the group, then Cloud9 was obviously weakened. And Gamer Legion was also weakened. So I would say that was the main thing, right?
I'm surprised by Gamer Legion.
Yeah, they actually did play good,
played.
but they were obviously still weakened
Yeah,
by
no, I
having to
agree.
replace 2 guys, right?
But they played, like, out of all of the roster changes, they were towards the bottom, like, of the break. They were and they performed actually pretty well, and they did some cool things as a team. Like, I think that's the thing. There's no, other than Acor, there's no star names in that roster, but they still performed decent team-based Counter-Strike. I think that's cool. Like, it shows you can beat better teams on paper if you're playing a good game, if everybody's on the same understanding. And having Nealon come in from EG, like, he did a fine job. Like, it wasn't anything that was bad. It wasn't bad CS. I got to cover their game yesterday, right? It wasn't bad CS. It was pretty good. But the Cloud9 problem that we're talking about here, do anybody expect this to change? Does anybody expect Axel to make it? Have you guys heard anything? Because I don't have any official news.
I spoke. Well, I maybe shouldn't say anything, but from what I understood, it's not 100% if he arrives. But if he arrives, I think they will be a very strong team.
Well, that's good because they're on your side of the bracket. Would you prefer him to rock up or?
Well, I don't really care because like whether we get Vitality or Cloud9 with Exile, I think both of them are just strong teams.
Okay.
I think that we had the easier group, but I think we have now the harder bracket.
Okay. Okay, that's a fair way to look at it.
Exile arrives.
So it's Vitality, Cloud9, winner plays ENCE, your side of the bracket.
The easy side, Heroic and G2.
Easy side.
The easy side. Yeah. But the awesome first matchup of Astralis versus Heroic.
I'm looking forward to that.
Which is one of my favorite matches in recent history. Now, the Glaive, Katie, and beef isn't here. Is there still any Astralis Heroic beef at all? What about with you, mate? Your ex-teammates?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I mean,
Do you want to bring the beef?
No, I'd like to not actually, but I think it's going to be a good matchup because obviously they're not scared of us in any form of way, and we're obviously going to fight for the crown. They've obviously achieved so much more than us. Oh, well, the Astralis, right? I haven't been part of that fight for the last 2 years, but they've been outperforming Astralis for 2 years or something now. So one matchup is not going to make a big difference, but obviously it will help us build a lot of confidence. And yeah, I think they are scared of us, even though they don't say they are.
Well, you guys have like played some good Counter-Strike here. I think that's one of the keys. Like a lot of the other analysts and stuff I'm talking to are turning heads. It's like, yeah, Astralis is not just like Blame and Device owning everybody. That is still happening. But the type of Counter-Strike you guys are playing is exciting. We're enjoying the mid rounds. It's quite clear where you like the map pool. You know, taking a look, you guys have had to play your entire map pool here. You played 6 maps. You guys have only had to play 4. Like, you know, like you had to be in the play-ins as well. But do you think that hurts you having to have shown more, or do you think it's good because it's a new roster?
I think it's good because there are so many maps. Like sometimes we'll play a map and we're like, oh fuck, we didn't play this map for like 2 weeks or something because we're such a new team, you know. So yeah, I think it's good for us that we get to play a lot of our officials, even though of course we show some stuff. But I also know that because we're such a new team, that every game something new changes for us. Because sometimes we just go in and be like, okay, this strat is just awful. Like we tried it in official, now it's just like dog, you know. So yeah, we're just gonna change it or bring something new, you know. So yeah, I think we're good at switching stuff up from game to game.
Okay. And do you feel any extra motivation going up against Heroic?
I mean,
no,
really not really. I mean, of course we want to beat them, you know, but we also respect them, and I think they beat me like the last 9 times or something. Also, like when I was in Complexity. So, yeah, I think they're a good team. But for us, it's not about like beating this one team, you know. Like I think we're just happy to be in the playoff, honestly, because I think we beat some pretty good teams on our way to like the playoff. So I think we are enjoying that, and yeah, for some of the guys in the team, it's gonna be the first time in a big arena. So yeah, I think for us it's just an experience right now.
Okay. Well, you did absolutely stomp a few teams on your way, right? That was one of the keys, like the domination that me and Machine were casting the morning game on the B stream, and you guys were against NIP, right? And both of our games were just over so quick because of domination. Like, what was it? 16-6, 16-6. Like I think it was 12 rounds over 2 maps. Like it wasn't even close. And then you played another matchup. Who was the first team you played yesterday?
Mouse.
Okay, and you own them as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like and then the Na'Vi game, the Na'Vi match was a little bit closer, and it went, you know, but you played 2 best-of-3s in a day. Like you look at the type of CS you played, dominating those teams. I'm measuring now, like we come into this, I don't know how you guys feel, right? You see that you guys didn't make a change, but all these teams that make a change, all I can do, you get to practice them. So you have a bit more of an understanding than what we have. But you see these players and you go, okay, how is this going to sync up? How do we rank them? What's good, what's bad? Like to just dominate those type of teams, Astralis immediately ahead of those names, right? Like this is the measuring stick. So as far as Mouse and NIP are concerned, it's like, well, I guess you guys are at the bottom of the top 10. Maybe you're even outside the top 10 because we're still going to learn. Like, do you feel Astralis at the moment is a top 8 type of team? Like you're in the top 6, but do you feel like, how good do you think this iteration is right now?
I think it's always good not to go out and say we're not on the top 6 in the world now because we had one good tournament.
Sure.
But I think we can be proud of both the result we had at Blast and the result we had at the play-in and here. I think we beat some good teams on the way. But I also know that things in Counter-Strike changes fast. Like
Sure.
you're only a couple, like you're 3 or 4 losses away from being crowned the worst team in the world.
Okay.
Like, so I'm not gonna go out and say like, oh, we think like we're one of the best teams, but I do think we're building a team that can compete against the top 10 teams, and that was honestly the first goal for us, was like be able to compete with the good teams. And I think we're getting close to that and doing that. But I also know that, you know, of course we're a new team, and some teams are a little bit surprised of how we're playing and all that, I'm guessing. So I think we are, maybe right now, we just said right now we're probably like a top 10 team, but it's not something that we care too much about, honestly, even though it sounds like something he says, but it's actually like something we're trying to build, something that can last longer than just right now, you know.
Sure.
That we're going for hopefully the next couple of months also continuing playing against these good teams and battling it out and hopefully winning some more games against the good teams.
Well, that's essentially the next step of where you guys are at, right? Like, you need to break through and then consistently show that you're a good competitive team to contest against the world's best. And you guys are in that conversation. You in Dallas, it's the Katowice event, but whatever, that's here nor there. You go into the break, you come here, it's your first event of the season, and you're showing good form again, right? Like, do you relate to some of the things Blame's saying here in terms of building, you know, that base initially?
Yeah, I think like with this team we got top 4 at EPL, right, and then top 1 Dallas, and then now top 4 here at the ESL event, right? And we had one screw up, which was at the major, and I think that learned us a lot because I think we lost to ourselves in the sense that we were too result focused, and like it's kind of like what Benja said. If you have a lot of expectations, right, and then a game doesn't go according to your expectations, you can easily get frustrated, and when you get frustrated, you play a lot worse. So, like, trusting that the result will just be an outcome of what you try to do. Like, so as long as we do not lose to ourselves, as long as we try to support each other, and we just take it one game at a time, the results will eventually come. And I think it seems like that's a healthy way that they're also thinking about it. Because I think if you get too result orientated and you say, we need to make playoff here, we need to win this tournament. If you don't, you can easily lose a lot of motivation, and people can start to like nag on each other, and I think that's obviously a very bad thing. So I get that.
I think the key is like to enjoy from the game. I don't think like I'm not talking about the results right now. Like, if you want like to play good, you have to enjoy and smile in the game. This is like what we understood in Paris major.
Yeah, and also preparation outside of the server. Yeah. Just simple stuff like making sure you get sleep and eat normal. Like, well, it's obviously we screwed up a lot at that major. Let's say it that way.
No, but like, it's a good point, right? Because when you're on the road and you're going from place to place, like my job is only to talk. Like, compared to you guys, it's not hard at all. But if I have bad diet for several days, like my energy's low, or you know, like if you eat at the wrong time before you're about to play a match, even if you're about to cast, you feel tired, right? Like, those are all things that at the professional level you guys have to worry about now, which is not something we had to worry about back in the day at all.
I think Astralis did worry about it like 5-6 years ago. That's probably why they were a bit more dominant than the rest.
Right, put them leaps and bounds
ahead. I think they
ahead.
were quite ahead outside of the server.
Yeah.
As well as inside the server.
There's a lot of teams who are catching up to that kind of model now, right, and who are doing that. Let me flick through here. Let me see what other fun stuff I got for everybody here. I wanted to ask about the Buzz yesterday. He had that massive performance, right, like on Overpass to help get you guys across the line. How much have we seen of Buzz in officials that replicates the Buzz in practice, right? Because we all know there's players who are in practice, they're really good, they do the job you need, but they have a harder time translating that. And Buzz is, as far as your team is concerned, the biggest rookie in that regard, right? Is Buzz someone who we're going to be impressed by with more and more time? Like, is he going to be a star fragger for your team?
I don't think he's meant to be like the biggest star fragger on the team. I don't think he has the role for that.
Watching like Anchor and A and stuff like on T side, Ancient, just waiting for that push, the poor guy. Yeah,
he's like Anchor / Lurk on T side, right? So I don't think he's going to be like a main star, but I do think he is one of those players that can like change the round by like taking one decision. He's not afraid of taking those, and we also encourage him to take those a lot. I think in the last lineup, he didn't get the roles he wanted, so it's very important when we made this lineup. I said like we need the players who have like the actual roles they want, you know. Maybe except for Boro, he doesn't have all the roles he wants.
I heard Borup in the interview the other day. You said, yeah, on the T side I'm supportive and then I'm entry fragging, and I just like in my head I was like, okay, so you're setting up your players early with the nades, and then when there's no utility left and someone needs to run into the bomb site, it's you. I was like, damn, that doesn't sound like an easy job at all. Like I wouldn't be envious of that position, mate.
I don't know. I quite enjoy it.
Oh, because you get to aim, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's enjoyable. Like on Ancient, for example, I run a ram quite a bit, and then Device is just right behind me, like with the triple kills, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Like it's enjoyable to just watch, and then I can overlook the game and give some. Yeah, because as well as the G2 guys, I think Hunter did an interview. Like when you're dead, you're still communicating, right? And in Denmark, we've been focusing on that for like many years. Like we've always been doing it, so it's not something that comes new to us, right? And we focus a lot on it in this new Astralis as well. That everyone can help and focus on communicating even for the dead ones. No, for the people who are alive, right? And then make plans as well. So I think I do focus a lot on improving at that point as well, because obviously I'm going to be dead a lot more than others in after plan positions. So I think in general I just enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's just when you tell that to like any Counter-Strike player at home, that's what you'd have to do in a team. It's like you're embracing this selflessly, like you need to for the team to work, right? And if you're good in that position, then that's great. But when I hear that, it's like, for me, I'm just like, oh my God, like that just seems like you're doing all the hardest things. Like, because people don't realize this, like not everybody, does everybody in your teams know insta window smokes on Ancient? Does every player?
I don't know. I'm playing mid,
there you go, right? There you go. So you're the guy getting set up, right? And so and Borup's the guy who's setting that up, right? You doing the insta window smokes, or is it someone else? Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Like I don't think people understand, because those details, I can't really highlight it while I'm commentating the thing.
But it's also
here's Borup,
right?
exactly.
Because like I think if on Ancient usually when you enter you have some pretty nice angles you can go into. But if you need to go dry on Inferno short, it's like goodbye.
Right,
you're not gonna kill anyone.
Yeah, balcony. So, fair
like
enough.
11 angles to clear. No flashes.
Ancient is definitely a good one to entry on.
Yeah.
It's like, and I don't like the best times to entry is obviously like the ones where you're like going a bit more dry and right. Obviously, if there's 20 seconds left and you're running into a side where you know there's going to be two people, that's going to be a rough one, right? Like there's no point in even trying to clear any angles, like because obviously I played with the Bird from Sky, right, from Flames, and he's very he plays the mathematical view of the game, right? So if he sees an option, like let's say there's 30 seconds left and how to put this down, like he wants the interfrag to just like make space. Like if I'm running in short on overpass, 30 seconds left, 4v5 or something, I don't have time to clear any angles. Like I'm not gonna, like if Blame is behind me, I'm just gonna be blocking him. I'm gonna take an angle and I'm gonna die to some guy just holding an angle. He's not gonna get a good fight. Like
you get
I need to just run and maybe I need to jump and just like there's no time to just jiggle peek things, right? And you need to just wide strafe and make space for the second guy because he's gonna be the one winning the round for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I learned a lot from Battle Sky from the 1 year in Flames stuff.
But the way you put that there is another one of these things that's hard for Counter-Strike players who are not playing in a team to understand, right? Is because what you're talking about here is being selfless to win the round, not to add to your stats. Like that's I empathize with that a lot. Like people go, oh, he's lazy clearing. It's like, no, he's setting himself up to be traded so they can win the site and then win the round, right? Like these type of things. What you're talking about here is great. We never talk like on that level of thing, right? Like, and you don't even get time during the game to highlight that detail either. Yeah, he's running in now like a baboon because he has to, right? It's really nice hearing you say this. It's because you're a supportive element of a team, and that's actually a really cool way to. And I see Snappy nod along every time. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what we need. That's exactly.
No, but it is what you do like on certain sites where like it's the first guy just need to jump or hard strafe because if he doesn't do it, it's round over.
Yeah. You know what he said. I already played against you in premium, so I just see every time when I'm playing Face It, for example, like you don't see players because like they're used to play for themselves. Like players actually they're taking space, and like this is like when they're coming to actually big teams, you have really few players that actually can do it, and this is bad in my opinion.
Yeah. This Team Counter-Strike is kind of lost on the newer generation, and it's hard to teach them that, right? But hey, I think that's why Team Counter-Strike from Israel is the reason that you have a better understanding is because you have that tight-knit group of players. Like you play with them, so you all have learnt through that same... Yeah. That's what we're trying to work out with the Mongols, is like they just keep getting new players, and then they just keep playing Counter-Strike that's like pretty decent. And you're like, how are they passing this information down? I can't quite work it out because there's just so many new names that keep coming through. But we got the Danish CS, we got the Israeli CS, like these communities, you guys have strong communities. Like that's one of the cool things, right? Like we get to, actually both of your nationalities, the players are popping off insane right now. 3 Israelis in the playoffs. Dane's coming out of our ass, mate. I was writing it down here. I can't believe it. Like it's back to a couple years ago. So we've got Snappy obviously for ENCE, Hooksy for G2. You're in-game leading Astralis, but you're all Danish, right? But we're listing all the we got Magisk over there with Zonic, right? There's more Danes, and then we have Cadian and all of Heroic. That's the playoffs. It's only Cloud9, the only team without any Danes, right? Like it's back to that level of just, oh shit, they run this world again, right? Why is there such why are there so many strong Danish in-game leaders? Can you guys crack the code on this one?
I think there has been a lot of in-game leaders in the past, and then I also think that I just think that there is different styles in Denmark. I would say no in-game leader kind of have the same style in Denmark, even though there is so many of them.
But like Sweden has very few, right? Like
yeah, I mean, I think it is also down to the ecosystem, the fact that there has been so many in-game leaders before us, and then like there was in 1.6 there was like Arcadia and Eve, very different in-game leaders. Then in CSGO there was like Honden, and even down in the lower ranks, as Bob said, there's I think Bird from Sky is in general underrated, at least looking from the outside, because he seems to improve all of his teams, right? So I think there's just a lot of people to learn from, and I think it's also kind of encouraged in the Danish teams where it's not so individual necessarily always.
You embrace the team element again.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of other countries it's like very heavily based on the individuals.
Because they're trying to break out, right? Like Rops from Estonia, for example, it's like, well, he can't really build a good Estonian team. He has to break out. Nico, right? They all have to break out of that mold, which I guess is hard, but it also, it highlights bad habits. Right, it doesn't highlight the team counter that Burrup's out here explaining to everybody.
You cannot have 5 players like that, obviously.
Yeah,
you need some guys that just run.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. Like you had the point, like we had like few in-game leaders from 1.6, but like in 1.6, the Swedish CS was the best.
Yep.
What happened to Swedish CS? Like, do you think?
I think they got complacent. I think like they started CSGO as the best, right?
Yeah.
So they came in, it was Fnatic and NIP. That was the conversation for late 2013. The French tried, Very Games
Until
tried.
2015, no?
Yeah, and then it all fell apart, right? But I look at this, I think it happened with Polish CS, VP, right? They were good, and then they stopped making changes. They stopped being proactive. They didn't have a healthy scene like the Danes. The same thing with the Swedes. I think that they didn't nurture the younger players soon enough. So those players didn't learn from the best. And then that next generation doesn't exist.
It's actually a good point. I didn't think about it like that, at least.
Because there's some anomalies, right? Like Rez came through with Draken, right? That was a combo. Then you had Brolin come out for a little while, right? And then Hampus has kind of forced his way to the top through his playstyle and the in-game leading. But otherwise, there hasn't been a Swedish team that has done well outside of the Fnatic or NIPs from back in the day, right? So I just don't think they nurtured their youth well. Like you're talking about all the structure in Denmark and the different leagues and in-game. I don't think Sweden have any of that, which is unfortunate because they had one of the best LAN cultures once upon a time. Inferno Online, when I went in Inferno Online in 2013, I could not believe how big that place was. It blew me away. I've never seen so many computers in my life. That place was insane. And I get to see you guys out here playing on 5 ping everywhere. Mate, you play Counter-Strike every day on 5 ping. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
They don't understand what is.
They don't get it, man.
They don't know.
You know when you go to Malta and you play deathmatch on the warm-up server, you have like 50 or 60, and it feels like shit? That's poor Nertz's live. Like that's been his
80 actually, 90.
Oh dear. That's a fun question, actually. Now that when you play on LAN, do you play differently or do you play the same and the kills are just easier?
It's tricky because like I feel when you have like high ping, it's easier for you to pick.
Okay.
But like you need kind of to change your game style when you are playing from home and from LAN. You need to get used to it. And like it's I don't know, like it
takes a couple games.
So you cannot hold angles at home, right? But on LAN you can hold angles.
Yeah, but right now my city side ratings is so bad. I don't even know.
We have like 40% win rate on CT decision. It's terrible. But it's all of us, I think. It's not only nerds.
Wait, you're in the semi-final. I think everything's going pretty well, don't you?
Yeah.
And this is a sign of a good team, right? If you play your best Counter-Strike when you have to, right? It's about being able to apply the appropriate effort when required.
Yeah.
And you're through with everything that needed to happen. And now it's playoffs. Like, that's where you need to play the best Counter-Strike, right? So I think that balance is something that I am definitely not in a position to talk about. I was a bot. But I want to focus in a bit more on how we see this bracket going down. So let's talk about the Vitality versus C9 game, because you guys aren't involved in that, but you play the winner. If Axel's here, let's talk about if he's here, and then let's talk about if he's not here. If Axel's here, can Cloud9 beat this Vitality?
Yes, if he's here.
If
but
he's
if
here.
he's not, no.
Okay, that's really simple. Like
That's what I think.
No, well, this is the thing we're trying to convey: is the second star of the team is not here. So it's a big hemorrhage point. Like, are you worried about Cloud9 with the stand-in?
No, but I will also say even if he comes, I think it's honestly hard because I think the team dynamic is a bit weird because they just played with another guy and they probably had to like tell him a few strats and tell him a little bit how they played, and now Axel's gonna come in and they won't have time, or maybe he's gonna come in and then they won't have time to change much up. And yeah, I think in my opinion Vitality is too strong right now for them to lose. I think if Axel would have been here from the start and they would have been like, you know, learning from all these
Going through the
matches,
motions,
then I think they would definitely win because I think Cloud9 did the best changes for sure in the team. But for me right now, Vitality is too strong. Like they look really good. So I would say Vitality wins that one no matter what. Honestly.
Okay, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think they look very strong as well. I think the Flames addition to the team is very good. I think he brings a lot of joy to the team. He's always outstanding and funny guy, as everyone knows. Probably he jokes a lot about on the behind the scenes as well. So I think that's good for the mood as well.
Okay. Were you guys on this side of the table agreeing? Do you think Vitality?
I think
I still think that it's. I would say if Exile come, it's maybe 60-40 for Vitality.
Okay.
But I would say that if he's not here, it's probably 90-10.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow. Okay.
I really think.
Jesus. Okay.
No, but like I think he's such a
fair
big
enough.
factor
Yeah,
because
no,
like
but yeah.
imagine you have one of the best riflers in the world as an anchor, which he is.
Yeah.
You can just leave him so much alone. And I think that's going to be a big difference in their game, that if you, like, not a bad word against Buster, but I think I was told he hasn't even played CS for months leading into this tournament.
Okay.
So, like, if you have that anger, you might lean a little bit more towards his side. But if you have one of the best riflers in the world, you know, okay, we can leave him a little bit more alone, right? So I think that's also like a part of the game that maybe isn't like, maybe Shiro rotates a little bit more towards Buster, whereas with Exile, he would just stay or do his thing, you know?
Yeah, try and help. Yeah, I see that.
I think with Excel they can actually win it, because like I thought at the start like Vitality has the best firepower in the world, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not even talking about like chemistry and this stuff. They are the best the best team in terms of firepower. So I think like Cloud9 at least will win if Excel
If Axel comes.
back,
So the jury's still out on that one. We have to wait and see what happens here. Let me ask you this way: would you prefer to play Vitality or Cloud9?
You want to play Vitality.
Oh yeah, because of
Saying
Flames.
he's never losing to Israelis.
like when it's come personal, I always like between like the Israelis, they are my friend, of course, like they're my friend, but I really want to be there. So like honestly, there is no way that I'm gonna lose to them.
Okay, so for the team, it's better if you verse Vitality.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We want to face them because he want to play them.
All right.
But like, I think the rest of us don't care.
Okay, what do you guys think? If they played against Vitality, would you have Vitality as the favorite or ENCE? We can pretend they're not here.
You want to take it?
Don't look at Snappy, all right? He's giving you evils.
I'm actually not sure. I think it's a good 50-50. I'm not even sure of the map pool because I think that's going to be very dependent on that match.
Okay, no Ancient,
Honestly,
no
yeah,
Inferno.
I'm not a big. I don't even know what they're good at, to be fair.
All right, no, that's all right. They played Anubis a bit, and these guys haven't played Anubis yet at this event.
No, but we're.
But you used to, yeah.
So yeah, I think, I don't know. I try and measure it up right here. There's hype around Vitality being the reigning major champions, but I think that you guys still, and probably not by your peers, but I think just, and you said name value, and by name value probably just get slept on, right? Like, it, not hugely, not like, oh, they can't beat teams.
Yeah,
it's like,
I can understand it.
right? Yeah. But you guys, with every win, and I think every time, you know, there's like a Diha 31 kills in a map, or, you know, you guys are establishing yourself more as stars and the people are taking notice. That's why this event for you, like, you lift the trophy here, okay, you guys are the superstars of now. like no pressure, sorry, I wasn't trying to add anything extra there, but people would stand up and take notice, right, on more of a general scale. But this matchup is against Zaiwu, who's been in a grand final of Cologne before. It's going to be your first time in the Lanxess. Do you think that it's going to affect you differently? Dallas wasn't as big of a crowd, right? But you still played with the crowd. Like, you guys were showmen in that match. Do you think this would be different?
I don't think it matters to us because, like, when you get certain players, you cannot really know how they will react on a stage. But Nerds reacted really well, and I would say our Spanish guy gets better because he likes the attention. So he actually plays better on stage, I've noticed, and that's probably the first player in my career I've ever played with who gets a buff, like an actual buff. So I think that's also why we were able to get that trophy, because the additions we added now are both like fearless in the pressure games. And I think we proved that like a few times now, both in Dallas, but also in Pro League. We won against G2 Vitality in the playoff. Obviously, it was no crowd, but it's still high pressure games when you get into a playoff, and it's a elimination game, right? So I think the pressure isn't gonna affect us more than anyone. Like, I don't think pressure is a big factor for us anymore. I think it was with the old team, but not with this one.
All right. So let's live in a world where Vitality beat Cloud9 and ENCE, because we said 50-50, unless you want to weigh in here.
I think Vitality will win that match.
But beat them the last 2 times in best of 3.
But I would also say, ENCE is the kind of team that surprises a lot. Like, cause as you said, like maybe name value, like people expect those like bigger teams or bigger orgs or whatever to like get further. And then I think ENCE is one of the teams that actually consistently can challenge those.
Okay.
But I just think that for me right now, Vitality is in a better place as a team, just because they have this new team, it's going great, they have a new lineup. I think they're also farming some confidence in those like blast matches and that kind of stuff. Like I think playing officials and just smashing opponents, I think that gives a lot to a team. So yeah, I think they're just running on a high right now, honestly.
All right. So I like that you pulled out the stats though. We've been in last 2 times, you know. All right, so we'll wait and see how this one unfolds.
Knocked them out in Rio and in EPL.
Well, yeah, we can.
Be a third.
We can now flip this on its head, because the other quarterfinal match is the Danish derby that we've already touched upon, Heroic versus Astralis. So I'll pose the question to you guys here: who's winning that matchup?
I think it depends on device. Like,
Depends all on device.
Like, no, it's not only device, but I think like device is the X factor of Astralis. Like, if he's feeling the game, he knows. Like, I feel like he knows, he understands so much the game. So he controls the game, in my opinion.
Okay.
At least when I'm watching it,
he's really good.
Like, he's insane.
He almost knocked us on our ass in Dallas. Like, he was plus 45 or something in a best of 3. He was insane. So he's good.
But this is the trophy.
But I don't even think it will matter
right?
so much about device. I think it will matter. Like, I think that game from Boss yesterday on Opus was really important because he's been struggling on LAN compared to online. But I think he's obviously still the same player, so it must be in his head. But I think that game especially might get some confidence for him, and that will lead to better and better performances because he's still a very young guy.
Sure.
And if he can take that into the arena with him, I think there is still some experienced guys. Like, I would say it's more about the new guys, because the new guys is the guys that will have to like probably deal with the pressure more. And if they can deal with the pressure, then I think it gets more to a 50-50. Heroic will obviously be the favorites. They are ranked number 1 in the world. But I think Astralis have a better chance than they've had in the last 1 or 2 years in this particular match. But it will come down to the pressure, I think.
Okay.
A lot of it.
What about the play style, though? Because Heroic's play style, right, they're very quick to do everything. They're either setting the tempo or they're reacting to what you did, right? I noticed in a lot of your mid-rounds, you guys have been more than happy to go with the hurry up and wait method, right? Like, a lot of teams will just walk into you. I think it was Mouse. They just kept re-aggressing. I think you were up the ladder on Nuke, and one guy comes up the ladder, and you all just start laughing. Everybody in the team, ha, 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 ha. Like, you're just waiting for them, right? Heroic are going to play that style. It's something which, in the arena, if there's a little bit of lag, that style, it starts to show cracks. So do you think that's like, do you like playing against that style, first of all? And do you think it's a style that is weaker in arenas and you can take advantage of that?
Well, I haven't played them in years.
Well, I guess we look at Blame.
I don't think they have a style that's like easy to crack in that sense. I think they have a good style. I think they're they have a solid start, but I don't want to say too much, but I also think that the way they play, like when you have like such a defined play style, there's also stuff that you can use against that, and I think that's something that we're gonna have to like look at, because you don't get to number one in the world for consistently for that long. Obviously, they've also been like number 2 or 3 or whatever, but they're one of the best teams in the world for so many years. You don't get to that with just like playing random CS. There's like the way they play, there's like definitely like like theory behind it, and they talk a lot behind it, I'm sure. So yeah, I think it's just about using that to our advantage. But I don't think like their play style is gonna crack just because of lane. I think it's more for us about not cracking like against their play style, because obviously their play style can be annoying to play against if it works, but it also feels very easy if it doesn't work for them, because then it's like they're pushing into stacks if we read them correctly and all that stuff and everything. So yeah, I think it's more about like us not getting frustrated about their playstyle. That's going to be like the main thing.
All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I just want to say something about Heroic. They are so unique because like there is no team, for example, that I saw that when they are in this advantage, you will see that they are keeping pushing together. They are doing some stuff. They are gambling. Even if they have advantage, they will keep gambling because like they don't have utility. Like you cannot read them at least. And like this is why they are so unique. And if like the luck is not on their side, I think like it's kind of unlucky for them. But I feel like it's really hard to understand what they're doing.
I think it's the CT side that makes them unique, not the T side. I think it's the CT side where they take a lot of calculated gambles in order to stack sides more heavily and do pushes. But I also do think that there is ways to manipulate that.
Okay.
In order to make them take the wrong decisions.
But you just beat them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
maybe
not only like in general, we had good success against them. We played them 4 times and we won 3 of them. We lost when we had Valde, but we won them also twice with Spinks and Hades. And I think there's ways to manipulate the way that they play in order for them to make more wrong gambles.
Damn, okay, that's cool. I like that. There's something to look for here in some future matches. We've probably got about a minute left here, gentlemen. So where should I finish this off? We'll finish off with the point that Snappy raised about some of the younger guys, right? Some of the guys without the experience. Stare, Buzz, Bar up here as well. We'll be talking Arena. How are you going to assist them with that? Is there anything you can do? Or you just have to hope, like Snappy saying, that the players embrace the moment?
I think for us, I don't think it's going to be a problem for us because we don't sit and focus on the result. Like if we lose to Heroic, we will honestly go home very happy. Because I think we can be proud of what we've shown so far. So for us, it's not about like getting that good result on the stage. For us, it's more about are we doing the stuff that we talked about, and did we do the things that we agreed upon before the game? And if we do that and we lose, then the better team won, and we can just go home happy. But it's an experience, right? But also know as soon as you sit behind that screen, like you don't feel the crowd. Like I've been not on many stages before, but I've been on some, and yeah, when you go out and stand in front of a lot of people, you get a little bit nervous. But as soon as the first couple rounds are over, then you start thinking about Counter-Strike all the time, and it honestly doesn't matter, I think.
Beautiful. You think that's going to be the case? Just Counter-Strike all the time, not 10,000 people in front of you? Mr. Barrow? I see you there. You just visualizing the 10,000 people.
It's going to be... well, the only stages I've ever been on is like DreamHack stages, and this is probably with you, Snappy, even.
No, we were in Epicenter, right?
Oh, yeah, Epicenter.
There you go.
That was a good one.
You just unlocked a memory here
but the crowd was on our side, I even remember, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Well, I think it's going to be one hell of an experience. I do tend to get nervous in a good fashion. I think everyone gets a bit nervous, right?
Yeah, if you're not, I'm probably not human. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it fuels me up in a good way. I think I get very focused, and I really want to do better when it comes to it, right? So I don't know how to put it. I think it's going to be very good for me.
It's a fine line between being nervous and excited.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you're not shaking, you're fine.
Yeah.
You got I'll probably be shaking after doing some.
Well, of course, if you do a sick clutch, okay, maybe. But if you're sitting the entire game, then you might have some issues.
What the hell is wrong with G2? And I asked that with them in the semi-finals. But this team is either hot or cold. Is that just the state of Counter-Strike right now? How do we look at G2?
It's a lot about the individuals in G2, I think. Yeah.
Mentally?
No, I just think that they are very reliable. They rely a lot on the individuals.
Okay.
And if the individuals are popping off, they have some of the best individuals in the world. But if they're not, they have trouble.
Okay. What about their overall approach to the game? I know you don't want to give away too much in case you play them, and you already did play them. Did you get an opportunity to get revenge on a stage? Is this a team that you think is beatable, and you lost them last time? It's like, well, we could have won that game, or is it still early in the development? Because I know you're saying we don't want to be result orientated, but
I mean, we definitely could have beat them last time because we won the first map, and the second map we were leading pretty far, but we lost like 4 NT ecos in one half. It was pretty crazy. But we definitely deserve to lose that match because, like on Nuke, we couldn't hit any smoke walls. Like we failed like 3 smoke walls in a row. So yeah, it was pretty rough start in that sense. But I definitely think they're beatable. But I also think what they said is true. Like they have some very good individuals. Like even if we play our best, but their individuals play their best, there's still a pretty high chance that you might lose the game, right? But yeah, for us, it's more about showing better Counter-Strike than we did last time against them.
Okay, all right. Win a few more anti-ecos. Get a few more smoke walls.
Hit some smokes.
Hit some smoke, really.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you can control. So that's cool. Okay, yeah, because as somebody who watches G2, I see an emotional team, right, who cracks almost on all of their players, right? Hunter's the only one that doesn't really show signs that he's having a hard time, but the other 4 of them, like you can see Hooksy getting frustrated, you can see Nico and Monacy tilting, Justin internalizes it all, right? You can see those things. So for them, even though they're in the semis, and I should be probably celebrating how well they played, I'm so worried about that team because you never know what Counter-Strike you're going to get. Same with FaZe. That's the way I categorize FaZe now as well. It's a good team, you know, they have good pieces, they have good stars, but you never know what you're going to get.
I think that's part of the problem, honestly. Everyone keep talking about like that about G2, honestly. I think it must be annoying to be a team that has been performed pretty consistently well for like so long time. I think even in the other lineups, they weren't that bad as people made them out to be.
Yeah.
But people keep talking about every time they lose a game, then it's like the end of the world, and yeah, it's just annoying to play. And
so you think the expectation for the team is too high?
No, because I think they're a good team.
Okay.
I think being a top 5 team in the world like is nice. I think.
So give G2 a break is what Blame's saying.
I mean, yeah, I don't care for because it's not. I'm not in the team, but for me at least, when I look at them, and a lot of times where they have been criticized pretty heavily, I've been looking at them and being like, I don't think it's that bad, honestly.
Okay.
Like maybe if they bomb out of top 15 or bomb out of top 10 and they can't win any games, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think they're playing good and they consistently beat the good teams and they're consistently contending for like getting pretty deep in the tournament. And where Counter-Strike is right now, you cannot just have one team that's consistently got to be number 1 or number 2. Like every tournament, something like the ranking changes. So like you're gonna be like between top. Even if you are the best team in the world, you're not gonna be top 1 for all the time. You're gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like around there. So yeah, I think just like I think maybe it's also a little bit from the outside aspect of their team. Like every time they lose a game, they have to deal with like thousands of messages and thousands of people who wanna give their opinion about the team and stuff, and it must just be annoying, honestly.
I think the problem, I don't know, like from your POV, like I want to see like JKS more smiling. I feel like they're too out.
That's the wrong guy to get smiling more, mate.
I know. But I mean, like, it seems like they're too hard on themselves. Like they're not even enjoying from the game. Maybe I'm wrong, but I want them like to enjoy and just to play and smile in the game. If they will do it.
Some opponents. let them fucking
smile. You say good luck. You say good luck. No, wait. You say have fun. You don't say good luck, and you want them to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I feel like they will be insane.
Okay. It might be expectations, right? And if you start having a bad mood, it's bad. But you saw at this tournament they've been having a good move. I heard them yelling while we were playing a lot, so I assume that they must have had a good mood. And I think you can see it, they're winning.
Okay, nice. Thank you, gentlemen. Much appreciated.
We're here with Heroic and Cloud9 ahead of the IEM Cologne Playoffs at a Roundtable. I'm here with Matthew, Maniac, Cadian, Stound, Electronic and Hobbit. Thank you for joining us, boys. Let's just jump right into it. I wanted to start this conversation by talking about some people we don't have here in the coaches. Casper, you've been outspoken recently about how Exist is a guy who doesn't get talked about enough inside of Heroic, and obviously, from our perspective, it's kind of hard to know exactly what coaches add, right? He's clearly not a hype man, but how would you characterize Exist in your team right now?
I think he has a very experienced voice. He makes some very good timeouts where he has some reads on the opponents of what to do. Maybe if I don't pick exactly what he says, then I pick up on the idea, like, okay, he wants to approach this part of the map, and then I can see, okay, we don't have money for these grenades or something, and I kind of tweak it a little bit. But I think it's kind of like most players, like just like me in a way, if you have someone who's very vocal, they get looked at a lot, and that's both good and bad. They get the love more and they get the hate more. But he's a very quiet guy on the outside. But I think you can also see that compared to maybe previous teams or just past times, he's really smiling a lot. I think he's really getting into it with this team. And I think when you have someone who's coaching the best team in the world for so long. I think he's under talked about in many facets.
Nice flex.
Yeah. So yeah.
I see what you did there.
No, but really, I think he's a really good coach. And he's been playing in the best team in the world as a player as well, won many trophies, and he knows what to do in certain moments of the game. Yeah, for sure.
If we stay on the coaching topic, a question for you, Electronic. You were playing under Blade for a long time as a very singular person in the coaching role, and now you have Groove with you. What are the main differences between the two?
I mean, I'm still not working with Groove a lot, It's still 2 or 3 weeks that we worked. I mean, but as I see, there is a lot of difference, Groove give me more freedom as an in-game leader. But Blade wants to be in his system, He wants to play his system only. So yeah, we will see in the future what's the difference. But for now, the difference is that I have a lot of freedom now.
And is that what you would like? Would you like to have the freedom to create your system?
Yeah, of course, I want to build my own system,
Okay.
And obviously in your team, with new players now, you're playing with Shiro. He's someone who's perceived to be outspoken, talks a lot. We see him on camera in mid-rounds, in timeouts. How have you found that working with Shiro and how vocal he is?
I mean, usually I'm just agreeing what he's saying, because I mean, I like the way how he play, how he think in the game. So yeah, I'm pretty believing in his decision. So yeah, I'm just agreeing with this one.
Maybe you can attest to that.
You can ask Electronic the question that everyone wants to ask him.
Oh, go ahead. What's the question?
Who's better, Shiro or Simple?
Oh. You put him on the spot immediately like that.
Well, comments.
Well, I was going to give him a bit more time to warm up, but okay, we're going absolutely straight in. No, but I was going to ask, he's now stepping into a leader role. You've been at it for a long, long time. How do you come to that system of using your players and voices and not make it like chaotic? If you have so many players in your team who have ideas, Shiro has ideas, I'm sure Hobbit has plenty of ideas in the game. How do you as a leader take all of these ideas and you make something that makes sense?
I think maybe for Electronic now it can be a bit more difficult because he's joining a team where 3 players is already like doing their system, and he comes with all the ideas from Navi, and then he has to find like maybe a middle ground. He needs to like, does he really want to just push his ideas, or does he want to respect the philosophies of the others? Where when I came to Heroic and I started IGLing instead of Snappy, and we replaced some players and stuff, I had really like Down as my right hand. And we were like building it together, and then whoever came along had to just buy into the things we did. Okay. Which I felt like when I joined North, for example, they had played so long with MSL that like they were very buying into his philosophies and his way of playing, which can make it more difficult. But I think praising your own philosophies and your own playstyle is easier when you have players who have a good game understanding. And like Hobbit, Shiro, and these guys, Exile, they know how to play the game well, so they'll understand the ideas of Electronic better. So I'm not too worried for him and how he's going to do with that.
I mean, listen, it's been great to watch you guys play. Obviously, we know playing with Buster, it's not ideal. For you, Hobbit, you have Electronic coming in. He's got a different voice than Nafani. He's got a different attitude than Nafani. We see that from the outside. How did you experience these first officials with him?
I mean, of course, I'm feeling the difference already, even in practice. You can see that Electronic has like high understanding of the game, of the macro game experience, and he won a lot of titles, and he knows what to do to win the titles. That's the most important thing. And of course, everyone motivated, everyone listening him, and of course, Electronic also trying to adapt our game style, our like strong sides to his system, right? Which we're creating together. So yeah, everything is going well. But we will see what's going to happen in the future. Okay. It's too early to say because everyone needs to understand that honeymoon period is also in. So, yeah.
And have you guys run into Cloud9 in Prague? I think some teams have been saying that they're the hardest team to Prague right now ahead of Cologne.
Yeah, we have. I mean...
how's it gone for you?
I think they beat us, like, I don't know, a few times. I mean, it was hard to play against them, I would say. They definitely played really good in practice, for sure.
Do you see much similarity in the Na'Vi cooled electronic cooling Na'Vi and coming into Cloud9 as well, or does it feel like a very different team, obviously with a majority change?
I think it's hard to say still. I would say that like on some maps I could also see like the slow playstyle like the Na'Vi also has when we played against them. But I think like Shio is still doing all his stuff still, like his playstyle and stuff like that, which is hard to play against. But yeah, it's too early to say, I would say.
I want to put you two on the spot right here. With the whole Buster coming in for Exile, did you actually expect to see them in this roundtable preparing for playoffs?
That's a good question. I think, in a lot of the games I would still like take those 4 players versus the 5 on the other server. So I was not like insanely surprised, but I mean it's very tough to do it with a stand-in. Like I don't see many teams succeeding with doing it. I think it takes extra responsibilities of all the players as well. And obviously there's also like not the same firepower from Exile and Buster. And when you then are in a new team and you started practicing with 5 and then you replace 1, it's hard. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. It's a boring answer.
Great political answer. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Has it been hard? Well, obviously it has from our perspective, seeing you guys play, because all these 3 map games, overtimes. You've had some really close matches against Nine, against Fnatic, against Gamer Legion as well. What's that been like? Obviously, with not much prac time.
I mean, we put a lot of work into the whole tournament. We've been working until like 2 or 3 all team, we've been watching demos, we've been discussing what we're gonna do in the next games, what we have to fix and stuff like this, So yeah, it was a hard way to make it to playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's helpful experience though, going into what is going to be a really hard quarterfinal matchup against Vitality? Taking all these really close games, going for long matches.
I think the long matches always better than easy matches. I will say you can learn a lot from this. So yeah, I hope we're gonna prepare something for Vitality, and I hope we're gonna show our best, as a team, especially.
Speaking of preparation, of course, very new roster, not even your 5 right now. So I just want to know, how exhausting is it for you to spontaneously during the game figure out what the hell you're supposed to do, because you have limited preparations? That's just a fact.
I mean, sometimes it's hard, but I'm trying to figure it out, to find the best solution, how I want to call, even with Sandin, but I'm really surprising that Buster, he made it really good, he did it really, really, really good, and he tried to do his good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And listen, sometimes your communication goes really high volume. We listen to you playing and you can get really intense. I would really love to know, like, is it just in the moment, or is it because you know that your information is the most important? Why do you have these moments where you just peak?
You have the most important information in the game, when the guy coming from the flank, you have to say too loud, so your guys can kill him as soon.
Yeah.
Hobbit, you can deal with that. You can deal with him when he gets intense.
Of course, I'm sitting near the key.
Hearing through the white noise.
Oh my god, it's really different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting
but
used to
I
that.
like it,
Okay.
Because it's giving you more adrenaline, right? It's good for the game. If everyone loud, if you can see, the previous Cloud9 roster was very calm, and I'm not gonna say I like it, but if you wanna win the big titles, you need to have this spirit to have this adrenaline, like for example, Heroic has.
I was gonna say,
Carrion, yes, he's giving energy for everyone, and even I'm not playing, I'm just watching the game. I'm feeling it from the TV, and it's very important online tournaments. Online tournaments, of course, you can be calm. It's different. Yeah.
Awesome.
We were talking about fitting players into systems earlier, and I think your guys' story is interesting because a year ago, obviously you got rid of Refresh, you added in Yabi, you came into Cologne, and it wasn't a great tournament for you guys or Yabi specifically. What's that been like, considering now the heights we see him play at? Would you talk about Exist in his addition and helping Yabi get comfortable? Because very quickly you guys went from, oh no, is this the right change to all these grand finals, all these top placings.
I mean, I think also we changed the player in a kind of weird spot because Cologne was the last tournament of the season, right? So we changed right before that, but we also knew that if we wanted to get this guy, we needed to get him now. We couldn't just wait to see what was going to happen. So I think that was like tough with like minimal preparation in the middle of the tournament. But I think everyone participated in getting Yabi up to date with how we want to play and stuff like this, because one thing is me saying, okay, I want you to do like this and this and this, and I see some things, but also the guy who's standing next to him, a CT and stuff like this, needs to be very proactive with like guiding him and helping him and stuff like this. And obviously the coaching staff, assistant coach and the people behind us, the mental coaches and stuff like this has all done a good job of it. And I think that's also why sometimes people are judging both positively and negatively too early on rosters. Like if they played one tournament or something, like the sample size is just very small. And yeah, I mean, I think we knew from just when we practiced with him the first time that this change was going to be good long term. Yeah, you get that feeling. Maybe like the Cloud9 guys have now, that even though not everything is perfect, you can see by the way people are reading the game and communicating that they have better understanding and better knowledge of the game than what the previous roster had.
And you guys, we call you, the super consistent team. We say you have the lowest, the highest skill floor. I mean, you've only lost 3 group stage games since Katowice this year, so that's a pretty good track record early in tournaments. But what do you think right now is stopping you from having the highest skill ceiling?
I think the problem for us in when we have lost like the semifinals and finals and stuff like that is the lack of initiative and communication. Because that's when we play the best, when everyone is on point and offering ideas in the middle of the rounds and stuff like that. At least remember when we played some of those games that me as well and maybe some of the other guys that sometimes in the middle round it's too quiet, we're just maybe holding an angle, no one is really saying anything, while when we are playing our best is when we are proactive and offering nades, ideas and stuff like that. So when we are on that level, we can beat anyone.
I mean, it's really not about making the last decision of the round, but it's about throwing out information and ideas that creates opportunities for others to do it. Let's say if you're the big on overpass, Yabi for example, you need to say, oh, they're not re-smoking monster. They will save their smokes for the rest of the round. If he doesn't say anything and I'm like, guys, okay, let's group B, and then I see one smoke and I'm standing there. Okay, yeah, let's wait it out. And then another smoke. And then like, bro, why did you not say, It's all about this. And I think the Orbis here, I heard this, we can do this, people need to be proactive. It's like ping pong, And that's very, very important. And I think also still, I don't know if I would say dealing with the pressure, but dealing with the pressure consistently. Because we've shown okay, we can play the major quarterfinal against FaZe. We're super experienced, we can beat them. We can take other good teams down in the final, or Navi in Katowice or whatever. But to do it then the day after again, you need to, okay, we took one mental hurdle, but you need to take the next one as well. I still think it's still a learning phase for us.
Okay, and I have a question that might sound actually strange, but there is some basis to it. You're one of the most clearly defined leaders out there. You have a hand all over what's happening in your team. You have a whole atmosphere, a whole philosophy, and this is heroic, and that's how it works. Do you feel like sometimes your players might hide behind the umbrella of what you do as a leader if they're not being careful? Like, oh, Caden he's gonna take us through this, Is that something that might be happening in these hard games? Because if you weren't doing it and they wanted to win, they would have to figure shit out, It's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the question is better to ask for Stown, but I think, that I'm trying my best as well in all the playoffs games, and obviously it's not like it's just those 4 making mistakes and I'm the holy grail and I never make any bad call and this is just because they weren't giving me the information. Obviously I'm still having bad games and less good reads and stuff like this, but I think I try to do as many things consistently as possible. I try to bring the hype, I try to say the right things in the huddles, I try to do everything I can to prepare us. I don't hope they're hiding. I mean, I'm telling them a lot to go for the gut feeling. We're talking a lot about playing with your gut feeling, because the thing is, Counter-Strike is a game of very small timings. And if you hear something and you're waiting for always confirmation, can I do this, can I do this? It's too late, it's over. Sometimes you got to trust it, and then if it works, that's great. If it didn't, well, let's talk about why it didn't work, and then we can try and do it better the next time. Because I think that was the first hurdle we had to come over, and we've done this now. But the first hurdle was playing on the big stages, and people were scared of making the moves. And I said, listen, make the effing moves now, and we talk about them later. Okay, so you heard this and this, but we told you this, so this is why this was not a good move. And then we learn from it, and now people are better at doing it. I think we can still be even better, but it's going in the right direction.
Okay.
I wanted to go back to you guys because, earlier, Electronic, you mentioned about Shiro and trusting his calls and, you having freedom as in-game leader, but also him having freedom to make his own moves. Do you feel like you guys are, despite being a new roster, one of the most experienced teams right now in terms of the players you have? You have 3 major winners in you guys and, 2 very flashy younger players. Do you feel like that's a good way to characterize you?
But they're still young,
Yeah.
They have to learn a lot. They have to fix their mistakes. They have to fix communication sometimes, Anyway, they're still young. They have to prove a lot.
When you look at Shiro and you look at Exile, obviously very talented players, future stars of the game. What is it that you see that they are missing compared to your experience, the road that you've already had?
They're just... You cannot compare them, They're just different.
Okay.
I think for Exile, it's all about the comms, communications in the game. He could do more with this, I'm pretty sure, but he's one of the most skilled player I've played with, So, yeah, if he will fix this, he will be a really monster, beast.
Can you help him? Is there something that you can do, or he just has to figure it out?
I think he just needs to figure it out, But for Shiro, I think he needs to get more confident,
Okay.
For himself. If he will get it, he will wreck everyone. Because, he knows this game too much,
Well, let's just address it immediately. You played with Simple for most of your career. The greatest of our game, greatest snipers, whatever word you want to use. And you look at Shiro, is there something that you wish you could take from Simple? Just give it to Shiro. Like
confident.
This. Confidence.
100%.
Okay.
Confident. It's all about this. The confidence that Simple has, I think no one has, in the game.
Awesome.
And Hobbit, you've been alongside Shiro for a long time now, since the youngsters' days. Have you, even if Electronic says he has, a way to go or needs more time to improve and fix some mistakes, how has that been playing alongside him and Axel over all these years? Have you seen them grow as people as they get older and grow as players?
Yeah, when I just joined the youngsters team, I already seen that Shiro has a lot of potential just because his communication. He knows about the game, everything. He's just watching the demos like he's eating. He's watching the demo. I'm gonna go to watch some serial, a movie maybe. He will go to watch the demo. It's not about job. He just like it. He's trying to find every 3 minutes to watch the demo. It's different. First time in my life I've seen this player like this. Everyone thinking like, oh my God, I need to work and I need to watch the demo. But he's not thinking like this.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like the demos is in DNA, inside of the Shiro. He is watching everything, but the confidence is the biggest problem for him. I was trying to fix it, but I know that it's all about experience.
Right.
You cannot just tell him be confident. No, it's not working like this. Yes, it's working by the time, by the tournament. He needs to understand that everyone is just a human, and it doesn't matter you playing Zaivu, Simple. He's just a human, and Shiro can outplay them just because. I don't know. I cannot believe who is working harder than Shiro. Anyone. I just cannot believe just because he is living with CS. So yeah, that's it. And Axile, of course, he's just talent, big talent.
Yeah.
He's genius guy, who has also like different minus sides, like communication.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, he can work with it. It's fixable. That's the main thing. He understands the physical or mechanic skills, he understands like the best, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much needed experience, but fortunately, we're going to have some stage experience for you guys very soon. So I'd like to center in on these quarterfinal matchups. Now, often we get asked for our predictions, but right now, I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about each other's matches. So obviously, Heroic are taking on Astralis, new look Astralis. You know, what are your thoughts on that matchup? Who do you think's favorite? Who do you think's going to take it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very special match for you. I understand it's like derby, you know, to Danish teams, but should be very clean for Heroic. Yeah,
You think Astralis no chance?
Astralis still new team, and on playoff with the stage, with the crowd, it can be different for them. Of course, they have some preparation, some firepower device to join it, maybe some honeymoon period. But in my opinion, Heroic needs to close it, like, in my mind, yeah.
And are you guys feeling the same about your matchup? You scared of Device, Kadian?
I mean, he's playing good. He's in a really good individual form, but he's always been a good player, so there's nothing really new to that. But I think, like Hobbit is saying, you know, they have 3 guys who has never played on a stage before, and I don't even think BlameF has had much experience either, and now it's his first time leading on the stage as well. I think that's also difficult. Electronic can confirm this, like leading at home or in the studio, that's all nice, but when the pressure is on and you need to make the calls in the stadium, that's when the pressure really hits you. But like Hobbit also said, they are on a honeymoon period, you know, right now. So I think, you know, for them it's probably a lot about getting a good start and getting that feeling on the server that they can do it. But I mean, there's no denying that we're the favorites. Like everything else would be a big lie to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I obviously think we can beat them.
And on the other side, we have Cloud9 taking on Vitality, fresh off a major win with a new player. How are you liking their odds down?
I think it's gonna be a good game. Like we've talked about already. Like Cloud9 has a really skilled roster, and we don't know yet if at least if Axel is coming or not. We don't know. But even though if he's coming or if he's not coming, I think they will still have good chances to beat Vitality. Vitality also just changed, you know, like Flames for Dupree, which I think in the long run is a good decision. I think Flames is a really talented player as well, and he's like a good replaceable role for Dupree in his aggression on the T sides and stuff like that. But they've also been looking a bit shaky, you know. So I don't know. I think it's very 50-50.
Do you think they're weaker now? Do you think Vitality is weaker now than a month ago?
I think so. Yes, I think if they had Dupree right now, I think it would be like they would still like be on a really good level right now. I think they are still really good, but I think if they had Dupree, they would be at a better place to win the match right now.
Yeah, and do you feel like that's your way in? Do you feel like that's a weakness? Is that something you've identified? Obviously, you're going to have them today and tomorrow to prep hard for Vitality, but what are your initial thoughts?
I think, as I said before, that I respect Dupree a lot, and I think that they were better with Dupree because the way he makes the space for the team, I think Flames still don't have that much experience to do that, you know, to make this kind of space on the map. So yeah, it will be a bit easier to prepare for them with the Flames, I think. So, but yeah, I still think we can beat them because we have a lot of skill in our team, you know, so we can just take our duels and just win it. You know?
Do you think
even they had system, they just tried to put Flames to the system, but we didn't build our system, but we still can make it.
You had very tough games. You talked about it, Hugo, in this. Do you think you are mentally stronger than Vitality? Do you think that's something that you have over them?
I think, I mean, I cannot tell about all players in my team, you know.
Yes.
I can say about myself, you know. I think yes, I'm just better mentality than they have.
There we go.
Also, I think one thing with the Flames Dupree thing is, like Electronic saying, like he can still run in, but there's also a difference between running in when you're told to run in and realize yourselves, guys, follow me and go in. And I think Dupree maybe will be able to take that initiative more at the right time and run in. So I think that's a big difference. Like obviously, Flames is very mechanically skilled, but also he still doesn't have the experience. And I think one of the things when you're a young player as well and you're being in the role of running in first, the guy who's running in first also needs to have the feeling of now it's nice to run in. This is the time. Throw this flash for me and stuff like this. And I think that's going to be more difficult for him now because he's also going to be a bit scared of making mistakes. I mean, he's joined a team that was arguably the best team in the world. And I think the matchup is going to be very good. I think, a lot of skill on the server and a lot of things we don't know for sure what's going to happen.
Right.
So, I'm going to watch.
Quite excited.
Moving even further forward through the tournament, obviously one game at a time, right? But in your side of the bracket, you have G2. What are you guys' take on G2 right now and their form? They've actually had a fantastic tournament, taking their Vitality phase, Astralis. Given how they ended last season and the major, was that a surprise to you guys coming into Cologne?
I mean, both yes and no. I think that they have really skilled players as well, like Nico and Manesi, especially this tournament has been really good. Manesi, I think that he maybe, last few months, maybe hasn't showed up to the level we know he's capable of, but he's really shown up this tournament. And I mean, it looks a bit like the run at Katowice already, like going 3-0 straight to the semis and stuff like this. So they can always show up. So I'm not really surprised.
We always try to decipher the mystery of G2 at the desk, right? They're inconsistent. One event really good, one event a bit more struggling. For you as a player, how can you explain a team that has such roller coaster results? Because right now they look terrifying. A month ago a little bit less. How does that make sense to you?
I mean, it's all about mentality and preparation. I don't know how their preparation, their preparation before the tournament, how it's working, I don't know. But from my side, as I can see, mentality, the main problem. And skill, there is no question about the skill. They have tons of skill. Huxi, he capable to win the tournament. He already showed us. So mentality and preparation, because it's hard to say about preparation just because I don't know.
If let's be positive here, and Heroic is going to win against Astralis, and then they're going to play against G2. That's our scenario. Do you favor Heroic or G2?
It's hard. It's tough.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's tough. I would say Heroic just because they're consistently better. If we're gonna look at perspective. Right now, #1 team in the world. And at least it's saying that they're most consistent team in the world right now. So of course the favorite is gonna be Heroic, but not as clean as us versus Astralis. Okay. It's gonna be like.
I want to know what Elik thinks.
He laughed.
I mean, my thoughts, it's gonna be a good match, to be honest. But I think it's gonna be 60-40. For you, because I mean, you look better as a team. That's why, I mean, you had a lot of setups and stuff like that. But their game, I mean, I don't think they have a lot of new stuff. They don't bring a lot of new stuff. They're just playing the things that they played like 6 months ago, like 1 year ago. And I think you're gonna win this match also. But you have still to win Astralis, Danish derby and in derby, whatever could happen.
Do you agree with the whole G2 is playing much of the same? From the outside for you, it looks like.
Yeah, but I think a lot of teams are.
Okay.
I don't know if, I mean, even us to a certain extent is also running I think we're not that running set execute, but the way we approach map control on specific areas is still kind of similar. I wouldn't say people have got lazy, but also I think. If it works, people continue to do it until it doesn't work, and sometimes that's waiting too long. But I see a lot of the same strategies and playstyle, like Elik is saying, like how they're approaching the map. But again, a lot of the reason why some teams are doing that as well is because it comes down to decision making at the end of the round, anyways. I think for me, you touched about. Nico and Manesi, but for me always when they play those games Hunter is
playoff.
He's the nightmare to play against. Like because he's the guy who he knows when to make the plays. Like I'm not talking 5-on-5, running out and entering 2 guys. I'm not talking that. I'm talking like the 3v3s. He's pushing the right plays. He's eliminating map control and spaces and stuff like this. I think he's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
So that's, for me at least, like when people ask, he's the X factor.
I don't think a lot of people would disagree that between you and G2, your team probably plays the more polished CS in terms of team play. That's a fair assessment. But there is a fear factor to G2 when they hit the peak.
Yeah.
Like there's a vibe to it when you see everything is clicking and they're just, I mean, I watched them destroy Vitality. It kind of hurt me to watch that, but there's nothing you can do about it. Is that playing in the back of your mind? This like anime transformation style that G2 can hit anytime if you get unlucky?
Not really, because also I think like when you believe so much in your own system and philosophies, you're not really allowing them to hit that stride, you know. That's a belief we have, you know, that with our movements of the map, like we also know Heroic, they're kind of dynamic. Sometimes they're 3 here, 4 here, they push, they make plays. And I mean, obviously they have very sharp individuals, but also I think like we talked about a lot of the teams in playoffs, and who doesn't at this point, you know, like it's the same. Like if Elik and Hobbit and Shiro and these guys are on fire as well, it's difficult as well. But that's part of the game, you know, like it's a team game, but individuals can make differences at the right times as well.
And yeah, a lot of very competitive teams in playoffs. One more we haven't talked about is actually a team you guys just faced last night in ENCE. You lost a really close series.
What a throw! What a throw, man.
How do you were you enjoying the shit talk? The back and forth between you and Nerds was getting pretty funny there at the end of Mirage.
Yeah, I mean that's all fun and banter. That's all good. I think, you know, the banter and the celebration it's one thing. It's fine. Like I think it's part of it to have some emotions in the game. I think for us it was more about one of those games where you felt like you lost to yourselves. I think even on Nuke, like we had a good start on the CT side and we kind of let them back in, and we shouldn't have done that. And on Mirage, like we lost 2 times where Nerds was killing like 3 people or something, where we were like 4-2 or something, which shouldn't happen, which was just bad awareness and bad patience by us. And then even in the last round, Down is pushing Slope on Mirage. And we're standing there, 3 guys B, and I'm in the window, so I'm quick rotate, and Down is flanking, and they're coming like 5 BFs, and we lose. I mean, that's
I remember that round.
pretty bad, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it is. So I mean, I think, you know, they played good, but also I think, you know, there's some rounds that they shouldn't have been winning, but it is what it is. I think they've been playing good, but also I think that. I don't think that they are a team yet where if you win the quarterfinal that you're like scared to play them.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think they have like that stamina around them yet.
I was going to ask, is ENCE underrated?
That was my exact question. Damn.
So sorry.
No,
So
fantastic
sorry,
question. Fantastic question.
Open table, is ENCE underrated?
Yeah.
No.
Ooh.
I wouldn't say so, at least.
Okay.
No, I would also say no. I think especially not if you ask themselves.
You guys think?
Also.
No, not underrated?
No.
Well, tough crowd, okay. Well, Snappy's going to have to watch this roundtable and he's going to dig up some shit talk. That's perfect. I like it.
But I imagine you guys are more fearful of Vitality in their current form, even with the conversation we just had about how maybe they were better with Dupree than they are right now. You know, presuming you get through Vitality, what do you think about the ENCE matchup? Not worried.
They look so calm.
I'm still
It's
thinking.
like peaceful. ENCE, like,
If we're gonna go through, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
imagine you beat
I'm pretty
Vitality. Confident?
Yeah. I mean, their style is all about individual skills. I don't think they're playing like super team play Counter-Strike.
Snappy's catching bullets, man.
Yeah. No.
I'm messing with you.
He's good side, Snappy. He's rising his players. Yes.
Makes sense.
And he's using best strong sides what he has, and there's a big respect for it. But in total, if we're gonna see macro, they're playing, it's all about scripts, so you can rate it, or individual skill. So I think we have good firepower to stop them right now. So that's why I'm pretty confident. Of course, everything can happen, but still, I think on the paper at least, we're looking stronger.
And after your group stage run, presuming Axel makes it now for the playoffs, can Cloud9 win the event?
On the paper, we have a chance, but it's really different just because we don't have so much experience on the stage. For example, Shiro, Axel, and even me, we didn't play so much time on the crowd, and even on the finals. So it's gonna be tough. It depends on our preparation and mentality. So let's see. But we will get more chances for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a great debut so far.
Hey, while we're on the topic of bantering, I have a question. It is my curiosity. We have two great examples in Heroic and Cloud9. Who's the best anchor, Shush or Perfecto?
I mean, I think Perfecto has probably shown like a bit of more consistency in the big games and in the clutches. I think still in the earlier stages of the tournament, like the skill ceiling that Shush has is the highest of any anchor. Like he has games where he's like dominating so hard, where it's not fun to run to his side. So I think the ceiling is higher for Shush, but I think Perfecto still, he's won the Grand Slam and the Major, like as an anchor. So yeah.
That's a good dodge. What do you think?
You know what I'm thinking? I would say for me, of course, it will be Perfecto, because I know his micro skills, macro skills, aim and stuff like that. And I think, as you said, Jules has the best aim. For me, from the anchors, for me, Perfecto has the best micro skills and aim skills from the anchors also. So yeah.
Really try to get a boxing fight.
Yeah,
It's just it's very
repping their own.
Everyone
size.
just repping the side.
It makes sense.
That.
What are you going to say?
For me, for my money?
Yeah.
No, you're going to put me on the
Yeah,
spot
go
right
on,
here?
go on.
Oh, god damn. It's
No pressure, no
Tables
one's
are turning right now. I've become a bit of a Shush fan recently.
Okay.
I have to lean slightly towards, in terms of skill ceiling.
Lucky I'm on this side of the table then.
You're picking Perfecto? Is that what you're doing?
No,
Are we dividing the table like that?
I'm protecting you.
All right, so thank you, man. I appreciate
I'll
that.
say one thing, like Tessus, he did this thing which was super annoying, and this is something that Perfecto and Shush can both take with them home when they are watching this. And I said to Tessus, like, man, I feel like I'm playing really good right now. Like, what do you think? Yeah, I mean, as long as you feel that, that's really good. So, I mean, the conclusion is the most important thing is that you feel yourself you're the best in your role, and yeah, that's it.
Did you were happy about hearing that?
No. Then it's been a big banter point ever since. I had to go to talk to the rest and say, guys, and they're like, yeah, you are good right now. Yeah.
Gotta represent your teammate.
Yes.
Gotta protect your teammate. All right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, this was really fun, guys. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope we get to see you guys in the final against each other. I think that would be great fun, and I hope we get Axel in as well for the playoffs. So, yeah, best of luck in your matches, boys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to a roundtable conversation. We've got G2, we've got Vitality, and I guess my first question for you guys is, what are you guys going to do with your extra day off?
Going to, I guess, relax and practice in the days off. Yeah.
Huxi, why do you hate Korean barbecue?
Because I don't go to a restaurant to cook my own food.
That's
makes sense,
unreasonable.
Yeah? Nico, why do you love it?
Because I have to cook my own food. No, it's tasty, it's good. Cooking the food makes it even more tasty in the end. So, yeah, Korean barbecue has been a tradition in CSGO for my teams at least. Always happy to go there and always have a good time.
He was one of the 6, 7, 8 pilgrimage people in Atlanta. 40-minute Ubers for Korean barbecue.
Yes, definitely worth it.
You strike me as a Korean barbecue kind of guy.
Well, not before we joined before we had the international roster. We didn't go that much back then. But Zonic is a huge fan of Korean barbecue, so now we have to go, and I pretty like it. I think it was your first time yesterday, no?
Yeah, my first time yesterday. I don't know. I don't really like it.
No, this guy, okay. We have to start from something. This guy in food.
Oh, yeah.
He's the worst guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
mate.
no.
He knows nothing.
Oh, I have something in my mouth.
Korean
barbecue from yesterday.
What have you done before, baby?
But I don't really like it. I think I don't know. I just like. I think it's a good idea, but I just didn't like the food yesterday. There was not many options. No, I think it was good, like what we ate, but there was not enough options. I think I would like a steak.
You have a lot of options, but I guess we just ordered only beef, so that's why.
That's
only thing you need.
Yeah. I cannot eat pork
sauce
and beef.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, let's just start out of the gate. You guys had that nice little matchup the other day. Fun game to watch. Even though it's for like quarterfinals or semifinals, is there pressure associated with a match like that? Even though it's just for seeding. Not in the same kind of way.
I can start if you want.
Yeah. Well, take it away, man.
For us, I guess it's always been bad matches. We always lost those ones. It's something that we have to think about because it's winning those matches give you like extra days off and one less game as well. So obviously it's important ones, but yeah, I think that in general we lost those ones. We lost in Katowice as well, and in Blast Group at the beginning of the we lost also against NIP when it didn't matter that much. So I think it's it can go both ways. It's just the way you take the game. Obviously, it's not an elimination game, so it's a lot different. But yeah, I think for ourselves at least, we're not good enough at those games. That's for sure.
Maybe you just like playing quarterfinals. You want those extra games.
Yeah, maybe people say that we want to play more in ENCE Arena. Maybe.
I mean, if you're in a quarterfinal game, it's better than going straight to semis.
You think
in
so?
My opinion. I mean, you get extra day in arena. You get used to the setup and you can do more things as well. I don't know.
You also have one extra risk of elimination.
Yeah, but
that's
losing
true,
to the
saying, like, if you win a quarterfinal game, I think it's better
than losing the quarterfinal.
Losing the quarterfinal is definitely worse. But yeah, I think like overall winning this game and like playing this game like gives you more opportunity like to try things.
Right.
I'm happy that we got to play Vertigo versus them. Maybe we were hoping for a no-base as well. Like we didn't play no one speaking a no-base, but it just gives you more opportunity like to try things and not be as pressured as it's an elimination game. So yeah, I mean it's always nice to win, but it also like builds the confidence as well, like going into the semi-final. So yeah, happy with the win yesterday.
I think also, obviously in LANXESS this is an incredible environment to play in. So does that attitude, let's say if you're playing in Dallas, right? Like you want to take that semi immediately, but here it's like even if you lose, like just getting to be there, like with the crowd and everything, like it must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Since like an extra day in arena, it doesn't hurt if you actually win the quarterfinal late.
We have 4 guys that haven't played there as well.
Yeah.
It's only you who tried it before. I don't know, how many do you have?
3, 4.
3, 4, yeah.
So like, I don't know, if we were to win a quarterfinal, it would actually be better for us because then we would have some time to actually experience the arena, but I'm fine with the semi-final as well.
I actually think it's the best one.
Yeah,
but for me, Paris was something special.
Yeah, of course.
And it was really big as well. But I think it's,
Cologne's held like it's always been like the unofficial third major.
I remember in 2015, the first time we had LANXESS and we went to the final with Envious. I had like crazy goosebumps for the first time. I was like, what the fuck? We used to have like small arenas of 1,000 people and then you have like 12, 15K people. It's like
do you actually know the number? How many can be?
I think 18,000.
18?
Yeah, but that's not for CS events, yeah?
No, I think so.
Numbers in char. No worries.
Jewish people.
I was scared to say it, but yeah.
18, 17.
They're really good with numbers. Economy, char, economy.
Full eco now.
When was your first time, Nico, in the arena?
My first time in arena was 2017 when I joined the FaZe. It was the first year we went, I think, straight to semis, and then we lost to SK back then, like every other game. But yeah, it was my first time in Cologne and a crazy experience as well. And unfortunately, we didn't make it to the final. But LANXESS is like, as he said, it's probably the best arena we have in CSGO, and it's completely different to Katowice. I was talking to them the other night, and just the atmosphere is very different. The crowd is also way more different. They're cheering for everyone, unless there's a big in semi-final, which happened the next year. But yeah, LANXESS is definitely an event everyone I'm in.
I have a question for you two guys, because we talk about it sometimes. It's a different brand of Counter-Strike when you get to the arena. Like if you guys played tomorrow in the semi-final, there is going to be different than the game you just played yesterday, even if it was an elimination game. Can you tell us a little bit? Like, can you describe that a little bit? How it's different from your POV and what changes?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm playing for that. I'm not playing to play in studios, obviously. I think I'm just more myself when I play in front of a lot of people and just enjoying way more. So I guess it's also coming with the excitement that the way you're calling. And I mean, I don't know. I want to. If I feel something, for sure I will do it. And I feel more things because it's tough to describe with words, but just you have it, you feel it, and as you feel it, whatever happens, you just want to do the best things, and everything comes by itself, and it's a lot easier. I don't know. For me, it's easier to play on stage than to play in studios because I know it's a lot more pressure for a lot of people, but for me, just more fun. And as I experience it a lot already, it just fun, and I think it goes in my advantage at some point.
Yeah, I think it fuels a lot of people as well. Like for example, me, I like that kind of pressure because it's good pressure for me. It's not like being, the huge favorite or something. That's bad pressure. But when there's like a crowd and there's like people cheering and everything, it's just super fun. And as Apex said, like you play a different kind of Counter-Strike as well. You can play a bit more fast-paced. Maybe you can take some risk. You can run because people can't hear anything. And yeah, I think that fits both me and Apex, so that's good.
I wanted to ask you, Flames. Well, first of all, is it Flames or you want to go by Flamesy? Because I've heard about 10 different things with this name. I know.
Well, I feel like I've been asked this question like 25 times already this month.
Yeah, well, you've also given like 4 different answers.
Yes, because I say Israeli people call me. The original name is Flamesy, but when people cast it, they want to say Flames because I don't know, it doesn't roll on the tongue.
Flows a little easier,
Yeah. So but if you can just call me whatever you want.
Right.
I don't care.
Well, Flamesy.
Sorry.
What's it been like hopping into this team and kind of getting acclimated to a new squad? There's all been. I know Apex has had some good words about their experience, kind of bringing Spinks into the fold and different pitfalls they can avoid with you. Magisk has touched on it. Does Spinks help you a little bit more? Does it help having that connection to another Israeli player?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like having Spinks, I've known him for so long. It feels like, part of we started the CS career together, sort of. And, flying together and talking a lot with each other, like what's the expectation? What do I expect from Dan or Zayu for or the coaches or preparations and, all those things that you want to experience, you need to experience for yourself, but you can get kind of like a trailer going into it. And there is also like, I can see that they have experienced transitioning someone in the team and like how they did it. And I heard many words about it, like what happened with Spinks that wasn't like the correct way and how things should go with me here. And I think they obviously learned from it. And I think comparing Blast to this event, it's like worlds different in terms of like how integrated I am in the team. Obviously, there is a lot more things to work on, right?
Yes.
And there is like...
not because of him, just because of the time.
Good save.
We had 6 days of practice.
Yeah.
6 full days of practice. So obviously, integrating a new player.
Yeah, I mean,
talk
about that because we have so many new rosters right now, and you guys probably noticed this when you're watching games. It feels like a lot of these teams are having to like almost practice and improve and correct things in officials as they go at these huge events. So, is there like a big difference? Is it more efficient? Like having like bigger days of practice or kind of going along in officials?
No, but I think that anyway, you learn 10 times more or 20 times more in official than in a practice. But just for us, for example, I mean, you have to play 6 map, and we prefer to have a longer rest than starting too early because we didn't have that much rest after Blast Washington.
Yeah.
So obviously we didn't have that much practice together. And for example, I mean, the game yesterday was a lot of course on the fly because we didn't prepare enough with him, and we can't do too much also at some point because then we will be tired. So it's just a mix of everything that he needs to feel comfortable. But and for me, it's a mess. It's a mess in this, and it's really tough to be able to play individually. It's a rough part. So obviously, I think that when you have such a tight schedule like we have at the beginning of the year, obviously teams like G2, Heroic, FaZe didn't qualify, but ENCE have a small advantage on the others because no time to prepare before.
Right.
And they all have the basics at least, and they already know what's working, what's not working. For us, it's not a big change, but still one player is something. And most likely when you play, we did a pretty decent half on the year, so obviously it's not that easy to go again and because we're not replacing just one player by another. It's just all about integrate Char in the way he wants to play and the way he wants to play the position. So it's not one by one. So it's a lot of work ahead, and sometimes it's for me at least it's a mess.
Yeah.
how does it look on the other side when you didn't make any player changes, roster changes, right? But obviously you still have things you want to improve on, you want to add, change. How was it for you guys, that process?
I think there's some pressure in a way that we have to prove that it was the right call to not make a change. Like everyone else changed almost, it feels like. So yeah, that's the first thing. I think just for playing the officials as well, it's so hard to prepare for every matchup because like we played, for example, Liquid, and like what are you supposed to expect from Patsy and Waynewaker now? And I think we also played against Navi. It was also super tough to prep for. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird kind of pressure because we cannot really prepare, and everybody thinks it's a huge advantage for us. But I think it's actually like the advantage comes later when we have some footage, but they are still not fully synergized and stuff like this. So I think, like, for example, the Blast event where we didn't do so well was also really tough because we had no info on the teams.
Well, I think you can see like the difference, like when we go deep into the game, like we have a lot of solutions to the issue that we are facing, and that just comes like from the experience we have as a team. Like we just know like what works against a certain play style. While other teams, like even though they change one player, they have to like kind of learn everything, like all the play styles that is working. So I think, like for example, game against Astralis, the biggest reason why we won is because we actually stayed together. And this Inferno game, like we just know, like we will always find a solution to whatever comes in front of us. And yeah, that's the kind of advantage that we are having versus those teams.
And I think both of you guys, you like to prepare and sort of try to find things you can exploit in your opponent and adjust your game plan towards that. How do you find that balance between trying to punish your opponent and maybe some gaps that you see, but also still sticking to some of the things, to your own game and what you believe in?
I think for me it's a balance, as you said. It's really important that you prepare a bit, and sometimes you see things that you can exploit, but play your game. It's better for the whole team, at least for the players, to feel comfortable. And I tried in the past to do more, and that wasn't working because if you create like, I don't know, 3 new strats on one map and you're like, and you have to show, and some people will not remember and they will miss the timing, and I experienced that way too many times. So I think it's really tough to create new things all the time. You just have to adapt, like maybe a small thing that you see against the opponent, I don't know, a nade or something, and trying to do that. But nowadays, anyway, preparing is not the easiest. People are changing a lot, and they do that kind of stuff. So just playing a game with full preparation is not the right idea right now. I think it comes up to know what you can expect from the other team and play your own game, I guess. I think it's more like that right now. And you can see that, for example, from the tier 2 team at the major, they didn't anti-strat any team. They just played the things and they just went for it. And we could see that in any game, when we get more and more to each game, we were like, okay, they're not preparing that much. They just want to do their own thing, and you need to counter their own thing. It's not like in tier 1, like we try to change a little bit, and they didn't care. They just did their own thing. That's what worked for them. So fuck it, and let's go.
Yeah. No, I think it's really hard to find that balance actually, and something we even struggle with nowadays. I think we change every now and then. For example, before the break, also because I really felt like I needed a break from prepping, but we tried to play without preparing for the opponent at all and just focus 100% on ourselves. And then now I think we found a good balance, but as Eric said, like you cannot really go fully into a game plan only looking at the opponent. You have to do what you're comfortable with and then try to make that fit into their weakness in a way. So I think that's how most teams are doing it nowadays, but yeah, it's always a battle to find that balance.
Is there any like unique kind of prep that you've been doing as kind of a new player onto the roster? Anything in terms of looking into your opponent that might be a little bit different from the team-wide prep?
I mean, in OG, I was playing more like the rotation positions on City, so I always used to like have a little look. But as Dan says, like the tier 1 matches, they change. Sometimes they change a lot, even like they change the whole game. And then I used to maybe find certain like players that have tendencies that I can probably exploit or just be aware of. And I mean, now as an anchor in most of my positions, sometimes I would go and watch like, maybe the coach would come and tell me, look, they have that, and then that would be sort of my own prep. And there is the all team preparation, but I'm not gonna I'm still trying to like figure out my own game inside those positions. So I'm not gonna try to overthink how other people play to fit my style. I still need to find my own thing.
Yeah.
How big of a change is it for you? Because in OG, you were a player that, you know, sort of the team is really relying on to have a lot of impact and get a lot of kills, like for you to be able to win games. Of course, in Vitality you also have your duties, your responsibilities, but you know, you're not the guy, right? Obviously in team with Zaibu. So yeah, so how does that change for you, that dynamic? Do you feel different?
Yeah, I mean, I still need to find the balance in the communication because it's you know, this guy talks a lot on city sides, let's say. So and then you have like a lot of people can speak in the team, like Magi's communication, you know, Spinks and Zayo can communicate, and this guy communicates a lot. And in OG I used to be like, you know, the guy that communicates a lot, and I still need to like, you know, even when you play B side, A side, you still have you can have a lot of impact on communication. So it's like I realized it basically because I was playing like some of the rotation positions that I can be beneficial to the rotator a lot if I give him the correct information. But it's still something that I'm looking like to regain, in a sense that I you know, I need to like find my own play style in the sites themselves, and then like communicate them properly with confidence, you know, like find the solutions for, like, you know, yesterday on Vertigo, sort of Monesi just came and picked B, and there, you know, like there is a certain thing that like you sort of know the solution, but you still need to get like more interaction with the team to know like what's the correct solution together and what will fit everybody. And you know, this guy is in his own position on City, so he cannot be like, you know, let's fix B like that and that and that. I need to like provide the solutions, and that's still something that that I'm working on, and that's like the main difference in OG and here. So you know, like I was more part of like, you know, I'm taking charge of this area, and then I will call in this area, and this area has like a lot of impact over the map, obviously, but I didn't really look at those sides, and now I need to be the guy that shares the information to the rotation, finding solution with him, maybe providing my own solution to this, and that's the main struggle right now. But I will also say that the main thing that I focus on.
I got a question for you, Nico, because you're gonna go down as probably the best pure rifler we've had in CSGO, but you've maintained it.
After Apex.
Something you want to add?
After Apex.
I thought he said without a major.
Oh, no.
But you thought he would say that, right?
Oh.
Okay. I mean, he said yes to
No, it's
major.
okay. That was perfect. I loved it.
Well, I sent Monesi after you yesterday. I will send Nico next time.
Zaibu will be there, promise.
How have you been able to maintain that, like, through so many meta changes? Because I know, like, we've all seen like the game change so many times. Players have gotten better. Players have gotten smarter. Tactically, things within the game have changed, but your form has maintained. Like, what's that been like, having to kind of stay up to date and stay up to being the best in the world and across so many different ways that Counter-Strike's been played?
Yeah, in a way, I'm proud of myself of that. In some way, I'm not, because, as he mentioned, I haven't won a major. but yeah,
You're a bit younger, so
I'm satisfied with at least my own like individual performance over the years. But I think that's mostly like gaining the experience, and I can see myself now. Like before, like 3-4 years ago, I'm just winning fights. Like I'm just out aiming people. Now I'm more like taking better decisions, positioning myself better, and playing around the team. I think even when my aim is not on point, I'm still want to find a way to perform due to the positions and.
Aim is not on point. Sorry, we don't have the same way.
But yeah, like even if I fail a duel or something, I just put myself in a good position most of the time, and I think that's the biggest reason why I'm so consistent. So yeah, I think just like the experience and like figuring out like yourself, like what suits you the most. And obviously, like with my positions, like I've been playing. People call it a star role, so yeah, there's a lot of action, a lot of kills.
Yeah.
Sometimes eco frags as well, and that definitely helps.
Pat the stats a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely helps to maintain the form.
Do you ever look back and say, "Damn it, I should have picked up the Krieg"?
Oh,
no, please, not this.
At that period, we should have.
I definitely should have. It was definitely OP, and well. We definitely wouldn't have won a major if I had picked up Krieg, but yeah, it would definitely help.
Yeah.
I think what's beautiful with Nico is the way he grew as a player, because I think he is one of the only few guys I think in a certain rifle that can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
He could always been able to lurk. He was able to entry, and that's something that a lot of players should look at when they're playing, because what's going on with a lot of players, when new players, when they come up, they know to do one thing, they do it really well.
Yeah.
But then when they become worse at that, they lost and they go to tier 3. And that's what's going on. It's just growing as a player. And it's something that Nico has been doing fantastically, I think, on my point of view, on the onside, when you play against him at least.
Well, speak for yourself. You started as an entry fragger, and now you're an in-game leader as well. Like if I
It's
went back,
it's even a lot different as well. But I think that's it's also knowing like your strength. Back then, my strength was to run and entry frag and try to kill everyone. And
you miss those days?
I don't know. Actually, I was used like a mid. And I wish I had myself as in-game leader. I would enjoy way more because I was just thrown like a mid, and that was a lot different. Yeah. So that was like I didn't know flashes back then, you know. It's just entry 1v1 and just run because we need to refrag you. It's not like Nico has also this style like he can take his time. Me, it's just run mid. so
do it.
Yeah, of course, but. No, I don't.
With Happy on the team.
Of course, it didn't help. But yeah, I was shown like a mid. So now it's as individual, I don't care nowadays. I mean, it's sometimes you want to play well or whatever, but it's just satisfying when you win. And yeah, changing this to I mean from an entry was satisfying just to succeed anyway. Right. Just to succeed, because it's always fun, because when people tell me that it's not possible, I think in my career I was shown that it was possible, and I would keep trying to do that at least. Yeah. I don't know if I would succeed, because you never know what future holds, but it's just fun.
Sure. I think it's very important, like you have experience of entry fragging. I think like he does as well, like I think IGL has to entry frag as well, like because he knows the timing the best, right? If you have someone else like that is entering and like you kind of have to like throw a flash and like tell them to go, like you can miss this small timing. But as an IGL, like you just know you have to go, like no matter what. Like if you miss this timing, you're not gonna win the round. So I think it's very important, like you.
For me, it's important also to have, for example, player like Shah, because I know that I can use him really well, and I will. I'm a really good support player as well. I use my nets pretty well, so I think that's important for me to. As I said, I was used as a mid in my career before, so I think like using my entry, I know that if my entry does the entry frags, it's I don't need Zaiwu in the end. Now it's true, it is. And if he doesn't, I need Zaiwu and Spinks to win the clutch. But for me, it's really important to put my in-game my entry fragger in the best conditions. Then. Because I know that when I was put in the good condition, I could carry games.
You have sympathy for the role.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
the fastest way to win the round.
Yeah, exactly. And also the easiest, because if he does double entry.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch a little bit to the games that you guys have coming up. Quarterfinal, going up against Cloud9. I guess it ties a little bit into the fact that the lack of information. I mean, obviously you guys have probably practiced them, but you not even that.
No.
So how? Just tell us a little bit about that game. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, we don't know who we're gonna face, Exile or Buster. So I don't know what to really expect from that.
Who are you hoping for?
Okay. I don't know. No, but what is important for I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm not gonna say anything. But I think that this Cloud9 roster is really sick on paper. Like I think it's one of the scariest roster we've seen. I think the last time I saw such a big news like that was probably when they did in phase, when they picked up Olaf and Guardian at that time. I was like, okay, it's gonna be something good. And I think they have like this capacity to have this really strong lineup. Then we need to see, but they proved also with a stand-in with Buster that they could qualify. I don't think they played the best opponent though, even though they fought really well. I think Game of Legend and Monte, for example, are a bit less good than tier 1s right now, but they still qualified, and that's kind of impressive. As I said, I don't know what to expect because they didn't play that much, and we don't know if they're gonna play with Burster or Exile. But for sure, it's gonna be a good game because, of course, it's a quarterfinal. It's in Cologne. They are a good team. Even they knew they were angry about doing something here. So and proving that probably most likely Electronic and Perfector did the right move to leave Navi. So I guess it's going to be an exciting one, and I'm just looking forward to play.
For you, Flamesy, anything you're excited about this matchup?
I mean, I've never been, it's like every time I've made playoffs in like a tier 1 event was always blast and you jump straight to semi-final. And I always felt like I need this quarterfinals before I jump into a semi. And I've always struggled sort of with those matches. I've never had like experienced players around me to support me on that one. And like not a great staff team, to come and like provide me with tools. And now I feel like I have that. And I have really good players that, I don't have this pressure that I need to, if I don't play good, we're for sure going to lose. So I'm a little bit more like, if I play my own game now and, I do the 5% more and, I get this one entry frag on City, I don't like die like I just lose myself. Then I can win, jump into semis and slowly like find myself inside the stage games. And I've always had issues with that, but I feel like right now I'm in a very good position to gain a lot of experience and learn a lot from the very best. So specifically Cloud9, I don't really care if it was Cloud9 or any other team. I think the better experience is against the better teams. So if it was Cloud9 or Gamer Legend for SA, I would probably say that I prefer Cloud9 with Exile or Buster. Doesn't really matter for me. But it's just that we can possibly go far in this tournament and like first time on ESL LAN playoffs for me. So I'm just very excited. I don't really care who it is against.
Welcome to the party.
I guess for you guys, obviously you're waiting for your opponent still. It's Heroic Astralis, and you guys had to play. You played Astralis in your opening game, right? And I think they're flying. Well, probably not now that they made the playoffs, but they were flying a little bit under the radar in this tournament. I don't think people have big expectations for them. But actually, I got to do I think all of their games, and you could tell they're playing pretty solid CS. Your game was tough. It was super close, and it was due to them also playing well in that series too. So, what are your thoughts about that?
I think the quarterfinal is going to be a banger, first of all. Like Astralis versus Heroic, of course.
Yes.
As a Dane, are you?
It's going to be fun. I'm going to watch, that's for sure.
I wish it will be in Copenhagen. That would be even more fun.
But
not for Heroic.
I think Heroic should have the advantage because they just have more experience together, and also on a stage like Bob hasn't been there for a long time. Stair hasn't played there before. Boss, I think, doesn't have much experience. So it's pretty much just, even Blame doesn't have much experience in front of a crowd, actually, I think.
Yeah, we said that with Game Legend at the Major.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, like the first time I played in front of a big crowd, it felt like the game was like, everything was just going by so fast. And maybe you can get caught a bit by the pace or something.
That's true.
So yeah, but I don't know, I kind of hope to play Heroic in the semi-final because now we already beat Astralis, so it would be fun to beat Heroic or something.
Just grab
as
all
a Dane.
You want to beat all the Danes. And in final then.
King of the Danes.
That would be cool.
For you, Nico, anything in either of those matchups that tickles your fancy, gets you excited?
I mean, I think we're definitely going to have easier time versus Astralis, but winning versus Heroic would make our run more impressive. We have beaten Vitality, and if you beat Heroic, it's the two best teams right now. Well, we might have to face them again as well. So, as I said, Heroic, very stable, very consistent team. Definitely way harder to play against than Astralis. I think versus Astralis, as he mentioned, I think there's a lot of inexperience on that team. And I think it can go both ways. Either they are going to get a bit afraid or they're going to be having fun out there and just like enjoying. But definitely easier time versus Astralis.
Since we're talking about Astralis, and obviously we don't know if they'll make it to that semi-final, but just out of curiosity, when you guys saw the news that like Device was coming back, were you guys pretty confident that he was going to find his old form, that he was going to come back in this kind of a fashion, or were you kind of thinking that maybe he just would come back and not have it? And
I actually expect him to do as good, but he's even doing better than I think everyone expected.
Yeah,
he's pretty insane.
Zanik told me that he would do that because he knows him pretty well, I guess.
Yeah.
So I told me that he will be really good.
he's
when he came
changed.
back.
He's so fired up. I haven't seen him like shout
Yeah,
so
some
much,
happened.
and like I don't know what happened to him, but he's he's hungry.
He was in NEP, I guess.
I mean, you guys get loud, right, when you've played in this sort of an environment, but I think for me, Astralis is the team that talked the most trash, and that's even without speaking Danish. But it just sounded that way, like they were, talking to just like specifically talking to the guy that like loses the clutch and everything. Does that like get in people's heads at all, do you think?
Someone calls you a fucking noob.
I don't know. That's
Does it tilt you off the face of the earth or what?
I will not care at all. I would laugh, I guess. No, but yeah, I think actually they are. But I used to be like that with Blame as well because he's saving a lot. So I remind him a lot when we play each other. That CS is not about saving; it's about winning the round. But misunderstood, I guess.
Lost in translation.
Exactly.
I actually expected Device to be as good as he was before because he played a lot of Face It with the Danish community before he came back, and he was looking pretty sharp individually. But I think he's better than ever. Honestly, like he looks better than when Astralis had the era and everything. So that I'm surprised about, and I think he's a bit more hyped because of the kind of relationship he has with Blame. I feel like him and Blame, they are firing up the rest of the squad. So, but yeah, it was fun to play against them. We also talked some trash back. So, and we also had some fun with this guy yesterday.
Yeah, that was an awesome match. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys went back and like watched like an old game from like 2017 or 2016?
I do that a lot. When I'm on YouTube sometimes I'm thinking about something. I think 2 or 3 days ago I did Dream Like a Man Watch 17. Because I was I don't know, we were talking about in the final we play against North, and on Cobble I had a pistol where I used Deagle on City side. So I played the Deagles. Yes. And because you could
talk about confidence.
2 body hits people. Yeah. And I was playing Danger and I killed 2. So just to show, I was showing Johnny that look, it was meta back then. I used Deagle, no Kev, and killing 2 guys, and that was working. And I didn't care back then. Now I will not do it. But that was just the fun part. And yeah, I like rewatching old games. I think it's just a lot of fun, and you see how dumb we were back then, and our CS was really bad in some sense, but. I mean, it wasn't really bad. It was just the level at the time.
We didn't know
not all at the same level. So, but just watching it was like, because I think preparation became a thing in maybe 18, 19. But before, preparation was nothing. No one prepared for games.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes for 5 days you don't play CS.
Yeah.
You arrive to the game and you're fucking cold and.
And the other team played every day because they had to qualify last, the last game.
Exactly, and we had some tournaments like that were really tough. But yeah, the level of CS was way worse, and but that's just fun to watch. That's just fun to watch those old games, and I watch this because of the Deagle, yes. But I usually watch a lot of games. It's even worse when you look like at 13 and 14. That's way worse.
We don't go
when
back
you
that
look
far.
at those
No,
games,
no.
you're like, what the fuck
I was 10
happened?
years old back then, man.
10 years ago, we played against each other. I played against those 2 guys in Vienna.
Against him as well?
Yes.
As a player or as a coach?
Yeah, as a player.
Actually, 10 years ago.
Huh?
Yeah, it was in 13.
2013.
It was February 13.
Who won?
He beat us
We were not
16-2, I think.
16-2 or 16-3, and we didn't we're coming into the tournament. There's like Lemon Dogs. There's the number 3 team in the world. There's a team with Guardian in it and Oscar and PHP, right? So we're like, we prepared then, because Saad was finding all these things, and then it was easy because you're not used to people watching you play, right? And then we were like, and then there's this French team, we don't know these guys. So we just get into the game and they smashed us 16-2. Like, all right, I guess we'll remember them after this,
And Nico was so young.
And fat.
How old are you now, Nico?
26.
So he was 16.
Oh, okay.
He was 16.
Okay, not so old.
16. He was
No,
owning
not so
everybody
old.
already.
Yeah, it was really good. I remember watching your old games against, the game you played against Lemon Dogs and 3D Max, because of 3D Max.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this young guy is really good.
I actually just remember one game. Were you in Titan in Bucharest, Dreamhair Bucharest? We
Which
played
one?
them, right?
No,
One Yoke as
that
well.
was Very Games.
Yeah,
Oh, Very
I
Games.
wasn't
Very
there.
Games. You weren't there?
on the
Okay.
team, no.
I wasn't there.
You got stomped there as well.
Do you ever, when you're watching these old games, do you ever think about? I think about this all the time, bro. I think about maybe not all the time. That might be a bit much, but I think about it frequently. Where I'm like, if you go down the list of French players from back in the day, like Shocks, Kenny S, NBK, but it's
me. But it's
I
Smith was a really underrated player. The best team player you could ever have in the team.
Okay.
But he missed a bit of CS.
He missed a couple of shots here.
Yeah, exactly.
But of all those names, RPK's up, like throw them in there. You're the only one left from that era of French Counter-Strike. Did you, like, when I think back on that, I'm like, I would have never in my life expected.
That's the good part. Because for me, what was important to achieve for myself is I really wanted to have the best career of all of them. And I'm talking about trophy-wise, not about individual, because individual, obviously with Kenny Shocks, they were really good. So it was pretty tough, and I didn't have those roles anyway. But just having the best career that actually we are like 4 French players to win 2 majors, but they won in 15 and 14, which is a lot different. So for me, it was that was a goal, just to have the best career of them, the old generation. So I will have a way better one than mine, and I'm really happy because he deserves it. But from the old ones, I'm just happy that I went up there. Because they all, only NBK is still there, and he has a decent team right now with Falcon. I think they have really decent players that can do. But yeah, I think we haven't done like the old guys for a long time. So it's just a good feeling.
And just to come back a little bit, we talked about Cloud9, obviously your game, but let's say you end up winning that game, you're going up against ENCE, right? Like, what do you think of that potential matchup, or just ENCE as a
They look good.
The ENCE are really good, and they are really annoying to play against because they play really fast and they're creating a lot of chaos and they're taking a lot of duels, and so we'll play 5 AVP, I guess. No, but I think if we manage to beat Cloud9, I guess it's gonna be a really nice matchup. We always lost to them in elimination game. We just beat them once in Paris in the group stage, but otherwise we always lost to them. One in quarter in EPL and once in Rio in the group stage. So if we manage to win Cloud9, I think it's going to be a lot of months game for us, and a lot of we want to beat them and eliminate them, because they fucked us 2 times, and that's not really really fun when you do get fucked 2 times. Once is okay, but
2 times too much.
Second time, you know what you're doing. You know.
Also against Nerds, me and Spinks really want to beat them.
And you're going to play Nuke.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Actually,
we're going to see some outside action.
I want to also, for your guys' perspective, because I feel like ENCE is that team that everyone agrees that they're really good and they have good players, but people still don't want to put them on the level. Like you 2 guys, or maybe FaZe and maybe Heroic, right? Because they're the names of the players, right? Like they're really good, but it's not as big of a name as like a Nico or a Zywo or so forth. So how do you perceive them, like as a team?
I think now we have to deal that. They are there. They've been winning Dallas. They've been going in the semi-final of Cologne, so they deserve this credit. And even though they don't have the big names and the big highlight players and whatever, they're playing really well, and they have found their own way to play CS. And they have a really specific way to play really fast and taking duels, and don't really care about the opponent, just running on the face, I would say. So I guess that right now it's important to put them in the big 5 or big 6 teams, because they deserve it.
Yeah, but I learned a long time ago that the names on the server doesn't really matter too much. Like, you guys played against Gamer Legion as well. They were not that known before, and then suddenly they're in a major final, right? Like,
exactly.
But yeah, they are super solid as a team, and I think Snappy has always been a good idea and getting the most out of what he has to work with. So I respect that a lot, and I think I would just like to see them have as busy of a schedule as us and see if they could keep up the level they are showing, because sometimes it can be tough and you can run out of steam for some tournaments, and maybe they would bump out here and there like we're doing sometimes. So
that's true. That's. I mean, only Heroic have been doing like really consistent for a year. Otherwise, all the others, it's just going up and down, and that's difficult. And that's true that they have a bit less, like they have more time to prepare. For example, for Cologne, they had maybe 3 weeks to prepare.
Yeah,
so
they didn't have anything.
It's a small advantage as well. Even though it can go both ways once again, because they haven't done official since Dallas. So obviously for them it can be tough.
Yeah. Not for lack of trying. Homeboy's putting out tweets all the time. He's taking it to him.
Oh, I like it.
He's fighting the good fight.
It's good. No, I think the other side of the coin is not like it's a given that you will do good because you have more time to prepare, because Mouse is in the same boat as ENCE, right? And Mouse has been like, I think it's been showing that they lacked official games, and as Apex said as well, like you learn a lot from official matches. So it's not only a good thing to have like more time to prepare. Sometimes it's also nice to have a busy schedule.
For me, the less games you have, the more pressure you have on those games that comes up.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's probably like the negative part about ENCE. It's like every game that they play, like they probably like feel like they have to win. You know, they have to make a deep run. While for us, like, okay, there's a blast next week. There's this next week. You know, whatever.
Right.
But
There's
for
always
them,
another tournament coming.
But then the good
That's
thing
true.
is they're always seen as the underdog, like you said. So
that's
somehow that still happens.
exactly, right.
It must be so nice.
I guess when just talking about the topic, I think for me the best preparation you can have is like 12 days of practice. Then when you have more, it's so annoying.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, more. 3 weeks of practice is the worst.
Yeah.
The last
you
week.
can start building
The
bad
last
habits
week,
as
yeah,
well,
exactly. The last week, yeah, you start hunting when you don't have a losing advantage, and it goes down and down. But I think, yeah, 10 days to 12 is the best. I think that's what I learned from when we actually us do that much tournaments.
Right.
You're just getting excited because you have a tournament every 3 weeks. So when you don't have, imagine after EPL, I guess we have more time till the end of December without the major.
Yeah.
So we have time. Sometimes I saw 4 weeks between tournaments. I told we need 1 week off. I'm not gonna do 4 weeks of practice. It's not gonna happen.
Especially online.
Or me calling all the time. I will kill myself.
And on that note, Jason.
And on that note, yes, thank you for joining us for the Roundtable, boys. We appreciate it. Good luck in the playoffs here at Cologne.
Thank you.
Thank you.